delivered by TriStar Moving. Fireball Hot Take Friday, ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Caroline Fenton is here.
Hello, happy Friday.
Ian is here.
What up, what up?
We've got to start on some bad news from the Titans. Out on Sunday against the Jets is Bud Dupree. Out on Sunday against the Titans is Julio Jones. Out on Sunday is A.J. Brown. Out on Sunday is Brett Kern. Out on Sunday is Caleb Farley. And out on Sunday is Larrell Murchison. By the way, it would be nice, and I could be wrong, it would be nice if Caleb Farley wanted to play at some point this season. You know, if they
Is it a matter of want or is it a matter of ability?
I'd say it'd be nice. It'd be nice.
I don't think that he doesn't want to play.
It'd be nice if he'd get out there. It'd be nice.
That is different than wanting.
It'd be nice. It'd be like Kevin Pamphile, Ian. We remember the old days of Kevin Pamphile and how it'd be nice if Pamphile had gotten out there at some point during his illustrious Titans career and had decided to play. And it'd be nice if Caleb Farley at some point decides to play. By the way, a buddy of mine texted me and he said, the whole Titans team's out on Sunday. AJ's out, Julio's out, Bud Dupree's out. And I said, look, this is what happens when you draft injured players, when you sign injured players, and when you trade for injured players. They're going to be injured. So this is where you are now. Now, nobody thinks that the Jets have any chance to win. And I would almost count myself in that mix. Corey Curtis will join us in a little bit over an hour. And, boy, we've got some arguing to do today. But Corey Curtis will join us, and he texted me the other day. And he said, and this was like a random out-of-nowhere text. And Corey texted me and said, why does it feel like the Titans are going to go up there and just throw up an absolute stinker and win the game 19-16? And I said to Corey, if that happens on Sunday, I might stroke out on Monday. Like, I literally might at some point in the radio show, like, we'll need to have those little things ready, you know, the clear. Because, like, I might get onto the stratosphere here. Now, we got a rule in the show that you can never get anybody in trouble for something that they haven't done yet. So I cannot yell at the Titans for going to the Jets and not playing well on Sunday. But I've been through a lot of these. And I've been through a lot of games against bad teams, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a game, and again, paying homage to my high school coach, a team that's not even supposed to be in the game with you is in the game with you. We saw that on Sunday. See the 2-1 Bengals last night?
I did.
See how they started the game out?
Not so hot.
And a team that was not supposed to be in the game with them
was very much so in the game with them.
I just got to say this about the Titans. I feel like this is a good team. I feel like they're going to make the playoffs. I feel like Derrick Henry might be the best player in the game. I feel like there's a lot to like. But I look at this week in particular, and I'm like, everything that everybody feels today goes right down the toilet if they lose on Sunday to the Jets. Everything that everybody feels right now probably gets flushed down that toilet if they play close with the Jets on Sunday. And yet, as soon as the Indianapolis game was over, I said to everybody, I'm scared to death of the Jets. And I am scared to death of the Jets. And I'm not scared to death of the Jets because I think Zach Wilson is some unheralded talent that hasn't played well so far, but will get it clicking. I'm not scared of the Jets because Corey Davis, like Chris Sanders said, has revenge on his mind after the Titans didn't offer him a contract. I'm not scared of the Jets because they've got two running backs I've never heard of. I'm not scared of the Jets because I don't think I can name a single defensive player on that team. I'm not scared of the Jets because I don't really know anything about their head coach other than the fact that he was the defensive coordinator in San Francisco. I'm not scared of the Jets because Matt LaFleur's little brother is their offensive coordinator, and I'm sure he too would go an entire season without giving Derrick Henry the football. I'm scared to death of the Jets because I'm scared about the Titans. And I'm scared about the Titans on a road trip walking into a game with a team that everybody knows is struggling, and the Titans going out and just laying down. Because I have seen it too many times in my life. I saw it 2018 at Buffalo. I saw it 2017 against Arizona and San Francisco. 2016 at Jacksonville. Who remembers that one? Mike Mularkey coaching the Titans. They play the defending Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos at home. And nobody gives them a chance to win. And they win. Then they go on the road to Kansas City, who's going to be the number 2 seed in the AFC, maybe the number 1 seed in the AFC. And nobody gives them a chance to win. It's a minus 20 degrees, and Ryan Suckup hits a 55-yard kick, and they win. And now they're playing lowly Jacksonville, which had fired their head coach, Gus Bradley, 1 week before the game. Fired. Play the Titans on a Saturday, not Sunday, because Christmas Eve, I think, was Sunday. So they play on Saturday. And all the Titans have to do is win this Jacksonville game. You win the Jacksonville game, you're setting up for a Week 17 showdown against the Texans to make the playoffs and win the AFC South. And Jacksonville crushed them. Marcus Mariota broke his leg. Season over. Mariota's career was never the same. And a game against a team that wasn't supposed to be in the game with you was in the game with you. We've seen these from the Titans. They happen, unfortunately, quite often. Every time I used to complain about this, and I used to say, why is it when they play a game like this, they go out there and they just look like trash? And Floyd used to always say to me, and I never truly listened to this, and I'm not sure I'm listening now, even though you know I love you. He said, that's the NFL. That's the NFL. And I can't tell you over the last 2 weeks how many times I've heard that line in my head. This is the NFL. It's the NFL. Every time you make a bet, you do something dumb, this is the NFL. You can't do this. It's the NFL. Anytime there's a bad team out there that everybody's like, they're bad. This is the NFL. Everybody right now thinks New England's going to get smoked by Tampa Bay, right?
I think so, yes.
Everybody thinks Pittsburgh's going to get smoked by Green Bay.
Most likely, yes.
Everybody thinks the Jets are going to get smoked by the Titans.
They should.
I'm going to tell you, one of those is not going to happen. I don't know which one, but one of those is not going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Green Bay, Pittsburgh.
Do you know why it's not going to happen?
Why?
Because it's the NFL. If we've not learned anything over the last 5 years of this radio program, or the last 4.5 of the 5, it's that it's the NFL. And so here's this game against the Jets. A.J. Brown out. Julio Jones out. Bud Dupree out. Caleb Farley, who I've never seen play real football, out. They're all out. And we had people that called the show and texted the show, and Robbie and Rexroad, every text they took this week was, yeah, I'm not worried about the Jets. Go ahead and rest everybody. Joe Rexroad said yesterday on the Robbie and Rexroad program, I know Vrabel would never say this, but I think they know it's the Jets. And I heard that, and I just thought, this is the NFL. Ian, is that a fair summary of what you think we'd be hearing this week before the Jets game?
Pretty accurate, I'd say.
This is the NFL, and we have seen this from the Titans so many times. Bless you.
Thank you.
So many times we've seen this from the Titans. So why would we expect to not see this from the Titans? In fact, this season, how many good quarters have we seen the Titans play together?
4?
I think that's being generous.
I think it is too. I think it's closer to like maybe 2 or 3.
I mean, I think it's being generous. People want to say, hey, they played the second half at Seattle. No, they did not. They were down 30-16. They did not play well in the third quarter of that game. So you got 1 quarter at Seattle and overtime. If you don't want to, do you want to count that as a quarter? I don't.
No.
Okay. So 1 quarter at Seattle. Mm-hmm. How many good quarters against the Colts? The first quarter was good.
First quarter was good.
Second quarter was bad.
Fourth quarter, I would say good.
Okay, 3 good quarters.
And
in
just
3
absolutely
games.
0 against
quarters,
Arizona.
12 quarters of football. 25% of the time, you've played a good quarter. Your quarterback has turned the football over 5 times in 3 games. Your star receivers are out this week against the Jets. And I know the Jets stink. And I know they're terrible. And I know they're tearing that roster down. And I know their best player might be Corey Davis, which tells us how bad they truly are. And guess what? It's the NFL. And I am scared to death of the Jets game. Scared to death. Because I think everybody in Cincinnati woke up yesterday thinking, we're 2-1, baby. We're good. We've got Joe Burrow. We're going to take on the Jags. They stink. And ask them how they felt at halftime yesterday. And ultimately, they pulled through in Cincinnati. But, I mean, that tells you what this league is. This league, you cannot get too cocky in this league. You cannot. The second you start to get too cocky, you get your butt beat by a team like the Jets. I have said this many times. For everybody out there that thinks the next 2 weeks are just gimmies, just know this. In the last 30 years in the NFL, 2 teams, 2 of them have gone 0-16. And there have been some bad football teams. And so, again, am I picking the Titans to lose on Sunday? No. But I'm scared to death. I am scared. And I don't know how the fans feel. Because I think the fans deep down inside know I'm right. Yeah, I think if you're a Titan fan today, you're sitting here thinking about this Jets game, and you're thinking, I think it was Field Yates tweeted out, Adam Schefter said that AJ and Julio are out. Mm-hmm. And Adam Schefter, or Field Yates, quote tweeted it and said, Derrick Henry projection, 40 carries, 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, because it's like,
take the over.
That's the Jets.
Yeah.
That's the Jets. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, Lord, not the Jets. Oh, no. I cannot do the show on Monday if they lose to the Jets. Not because I'll be afraid to face the music or anything like that, because I might have a heart attack.
Yeah, we're just going to have to keep...
I might have a heart attack if they lose.
I'm going to dial up 911 just in case.
Have a paramedic on standby, like a high school football game. Like, just have the ambulance parked in the driveway and have the paramedic just sitting right here.
Preventative
and
measures.
Ready to go just in case. I mean, seriously. And the truth is, I am scared to death of the Jets. I know they suck. I know they have a rookie quarterback. I have no idea anything if their coach is any good or not. I know that they've got Corey Davis, and you all know what I think of him. I don't think I can name Marcus May, their best defensive player, is out. I don't think I can name a single defensive player on the Jets. Is Quinn Williams still on the Jets?
I don't know.
Ian, is Quinn Williams still on the Jets?
That is a good question. I think so.
By the way, good draft pick that's been. I mean, here we are 3 years later. Like, is he on the team? I don't know. So maybe they got Quinn Williams. I don't know. I can't name any players on that team. And I am scared to death. Oh, I am scared. I don't even know who's calling this game on TV.
Quinn Williams is on the team, yes. He has 1.5 sacks on the season.
Okay.
Quinn Williams?
There you go.
So, again, I just, and this is the thing. We said it the opening segment 2 weeks ago on the Fireball Hot Take Friday, which was, I know the injuries look bad for the Titans. I know they're playing at Seattle where nobody wins. I know Seattle has Russell Wilson. But the thing about the Titans under Vrabel is they find a way in those games that you think they can't win. In this game, everybody's cocky. Everybody's talking trash. And that scares me. Oh, does it scare me? Oh, am I scared about the Jets? I am scared about the Jets. Oh, I am so scared. And I'm going to be mad. I mean, I'm going to be mad if they win by a little bit. I'm going to be mad. And if they lose this game, oh, my God. Oh, man. Get the paramedic on standby. 615-737-1025 on this Fireball Hot Take Friday. 615-737-1025. Again, Corey Curtis texted me earlier in the week, said he thinks Titans are going to throw out, one of those just ugly performances and win 19-16. And I told him if they do, I'm stroking out on Monday. And I know that I'm going to hear, in my head, You know what I'm going to hear in my head if they win by a little bit and I'm upset about it?
It's the NFL.
It's the NFL. This is the NFL. I was listening to Sirius XM today, and they had a guy, and it's crazy about Sirius XM, because, like, people will just call. Like, and it'll literally be like, Bob is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's like, yeah, I'm a big Washington football team fan, and I was thinking, and it's crazy. And they had a Bengals fan call in today. And the Bengals fan, and this is the Mad Dog Radio, so, like kind of the crazy talk.
Right.
This Bengals fan calls in, and he's like, I'm just so proud of the Bengals because Marvin would have lost that game yesterday. I'm like, dude, you beat the Jags by 3 at home on a Thursday night, where the home team is incredibly favored just logistically on a Thursday night. You beat Urban Meyer, who might be the worst coach in the NFL. You beat him by 3 points. But that's how we're starting today's show. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Are you all as scared of the Jets game as I am? And I'm not scared about the Jets beating the Titans. I'm scared of the Titans losing because they're the Titans. And they do Titan things. You could roll Derrick Henry out there and probably just beat the Jets. And remember Cincinnati last year, 615-737-1025. We'll get Caroline's reaction with this question for you and for her. If the Titans don't dominate the Jets on Sunday, even if they're 4-1, how should we feel? We'll discuss that next. 615-737-1025, Fireball Hot Take Friday. It's Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
October 14th.
Toward the net, the back end of the score. Predators break out in front.
The Nashville Predators regular season begins when they host the Seattle Kraken.
And the Predators win it overtime.
And your only home for every moment of the action is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Creating the finest award-winning tequila means starting with the best ingredients. Camarena Tequila is 250 years in the making from Arandas, Jalisco, Mexico. You see, at Camarena, they wait for their 100% blue Weber agave to reach maturity before harvesting each and every plant by hand. This allows them to consistently produce one of the smoothest and best-tasting tequilas in the world. Experience Camarena Tequila today, available at a fine liquor store near you. Camarena Tequila is the official tequila for the Nashville Soccer Club.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Become a weekend warrior at BetMGM. King of the Weekend is a free-to-play challenge where you can win up to $50,000 for correctly picking the highest-scoring pro football teams during the weekend. Simply log into your account and find the King of the Weekend contest in your promotions section. Then, pick the 6 teams you think will score the most points from the selected games. $1,000 will go to the top entry each week, and if you guess all 6 in the right order, the grand prize of $50,000 could be yours. Plus, hundreds of dollars in free bets will be awarded to players who come close to a perfect score. Go to your account and try the King of the Weekend free-to-play game. New to BetMGM? Download the app today and make weekend football even better. Only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. My favorite sportsbook. You must be 21 years or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE, 615-895-HOSE.
What if you could build a 6-figure retirement income in just 5 payments? You heard right. In just 5 payments, set up a 6-figure retirement cash flow for as long as you live. There's a retirement crisis in America because the pension system of old has been raided and destroyed, and Social Security is already running out of money. Most Americans are shocked to find out they need over $2.5 million to have $100,000 in retirement. A new approach is required to solve this crisis. That's why this revolutionary 5-pay retirement program was released, allowing everyday Americans to use bank money to create a retirement cash flow without relying on Social Security or pensions. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it accelerates the amount they'll have at retirement or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement in just 5 payments, call Wealth Education Group now at 800-375-3232 to see if you qualify for this brand new program. Plus, as a free bonus, you'll get the 5-pay retirement guide and video. Call 800-375-3232, 1-800-375-3232, 1-800-375-3232.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
When you've watched the Jets so far, what kind of jumps out at you maybe on both sides of the ball?
Well, I would imagine, that this will be one of the best, if not the best, defensive fronts that we'll play this year. Williams, Fatukasi, Rankins, Franklin Myers, Shepard, and I roll them one after another. If you don't block Mosley, he's guaranteed to make the tackle. Young secondary. I think their backs are good and active, when they've handed it to them and been able to go to the run. Obviously Corey, they've got, a couple tight ends and then the, rookie quarterback who's ultra talented. So we'll have to be, sharp. We're going to have to clear our minds and, move on to the next opponent.
That was Mike Vrabel. Love it. Hey, this might be one of the best defensive fronts we see this season. Dude.
As long as he believes it.
You do realize in back-to-back weeks you play Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and then Aaron Donald. Just so everybody knows that.
Well, you were the one who was just going on and on and on about being terrified of the Jets, and now you're making fun of Vrabel for giving the Jets a little bit of respect.
I ain't terrified of the Jets because of the Jets.
You're terrified of the Jets because of the Titans?
Yes.
That's fair.
You know what? You know how they said tighten up? These are the kind of games, the backs against the wall kind of games, they tighten up. These games,
tighten down.
They do that significantly. Somebody sent me, by the way, I saw this, and we'll get to your thoughts on this in a second, Caroline, and I see you in the calls, and we'll get those too. Somebody sent me this yesterday. Dean Pease, had his weekly press conference. Mm-hmm. Did you see this?
I did not.
So, Dean was known to be into talk radio. Dean called in a couple of times on the show, and in fact, Dean called in one time and was like, the first time Dean called in, he was still coaching for the Titans, and he was talking about, the difference between Clemson and Alabama after Clemson smacked Alabama in the national championship game. Then, 6 months later, Dean called in, and I said, let's go to Dean, and as soon as I did, I knew it was Dean. And he was like, yeah, do you guys know who this is? I was like, yes, we do, Coach.
You can only assume, Coach Pease.
This was after he had officially retired. And he was like, I've never called into a show before, so I want to say that I've called into a show, and I'm glad to be on it. And then, I tried to ask him a couple questions about, should they sign Henry or Tannehill? And Dean was like, I just appreciate both. I think they're great players and great leaders and great men. Nothing he'd say. And Floyd laughed and chuckled or whatever. And Dean's back into coaching. And so Dean listens to talk radio. And at least the one thing I'm going to give Dean, unlike everybody else in sports, he admits that he listens to what people say. And he was pissed in this clip. Now, I'm not going to have you even get it, but I'll just sum it up for you because it was a long clip. Dean's mad because when he was driving into work, he heard somebody on the radio say that for the first time in 10 months, the Falcons have won a game. And he's like, what, you want us to win a game in May and June? What kind of games are we supposed to win there?
That is kind of silly to say.
He's like, he goes, the Buccaneers didn't win a game for 7 months.
Yeah.
What are you talking about that?
You don't play games.
Then he said that they said it was an embarrassing win or something like that. And Dean was like, there's no such thing as an embarrassing win.
Yeah, that's silly to say.
And so somebody sent that to me here. And I said to them, I said, when I saw this clip yesterday, I heard Floyd's chuckle in my head. Because if we had played this clip, say he was still here with us, and we had played this clip of Dean complaining about what they say on the radio, he'd have freaking loved it. He would have loved it. Ian told me that today, and I haven't heard it, Ian told me that today Vrabel and Paul Kaharski got into it. That was always something Floyd loved. As soon as Paul would say something, a question, as soon as Vrabel would take a sigh or would say something smart back, he always loved it. And the same with Dean, going after the radio host.
Well, you said that Floyd hated the media, right?
Hates me.
So he probably loves the fact that there are coaches out there, general managers out there that are willing to just stick it to the media.
Especially Paul.
Yes.
I think there was, Ian, I think it's fair to say there was something especially about Paul that tickled him when.
About
Vrabel.
Floyd? Yeah.
Yeah.
It did seem a little extra juicy there.
He loved those. So I'm scared to death of this game against the Jets. What are your thoughts?
I think that I have to look at it in two different ways, and I think that these two things exist at the same exact time in that, the Titans have their starters out, but that's okay because this team without Julio Jones, without A.J. Brown, and without Bud Dupree, is still a good enough team to be able to beat the Jets and beat them handedly.
This is the NFL.
And then on the other side, I have to think, okay, well, the Titans have kind of been gifted this wonderful opportunity of playing two winless teams back-to-back weeks, so that should be an opportunity to give guys like Derrick Henry a little bit of rest, but you're going to have to utilize Derrick Henry. That even though it's just the Jets, and even though without their best wide receivers and their the guy that they brought in to save the defense, they still have to play this game and win this game. And I think there's a little bit of a layer of it too, because you go into Seattle and you beat Seattle. It doesn't matter if you beat Seattle by 1, 2, 3 points. You beat Seattle. If you go into New York and you beat the Jets by a field goal, that's embarrassing. And I know Dean P says no such thing as an embarrassing win.
It's the NFL.
But to be able to have these conversations about, are the Titans Super Bowl caliber team? Can the Titans take 2 out of the 3 of the games against the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Rams? I don't feel confident saying that they can if they beat the Jets by a field goal, no matter if it's A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, or if it's Chester Rogers and Nick Westbrook-Akina. All respect to them. So I think both of those things exist at the same time, that the Titans should beat them handedly. But also they have to go out there and actually beat this team.
We got to find a clip of Floyd saying this is the NFL. Because, I mean, this is the thing. I think last night's game should scare you if you're a Titan fan. Because Cincinnati was 2-1. Cincinnati was feeling good. Cincinnati was at home on a Thursday night where, again, just as I said, logistically, it is so slanted in your favor to crush somebody on Thursday Night Football when you're the home team because they only get like a half a practice. And then they got to get on a plane and then go fly to play you, whereas you get to stay home. And so that extra, you get back to practice on Wednesday, you play a game on Thursday, there you go. You can't do that when you're the visiting team. Those bodies aren't healed to be able to practice on Monday or Tuesday for Thursday Night Football. And it could have been 17-0 in the first quarter. It was
very much
the first
so.
half.
It very much so.
It could have been 17-0 if Urban Meyer would take his head out of his rear end for 5 minutes, which he's not going to do, which is good for all of us. But I'm telling you right now, 3 games, and I haven't looked at the rest of the slate. 3 games: Patriots, Bucks, Packers, Steelers, Titans, and Jets. One of those games you're going to be stunned by. I don't know which one. One of them. Because it's the NFL. Let's get to your phones on a Fireball Hot Take Friday, 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Ralph, long time no talk. Thank you for calling the show, although I think you did call in last week. Go ahead, Ralph.
Hey, Jared. Hey, Caroline. I have one question on one point. Is our general manager in love with injured and unproven players in the draft and free agency? Is there any better letter than if we could give him for the past 2 years? And my suggestion for the Jets, load the box, 100 yards for Derrick Henry, and you have easy way to win. Thank you.
Thank you for your call, Ralph. I will say this about John Robinson. Assessing John Robinson is one of the hardest things that I think I've ever had to do in my entire life. Now, I love John Robinson. I think that at the end of the day, the general manager's job is to win. We can talk about everything else in the NFL, and the general manager's job is to win. And every general manager who gets fired, there's always some sob story about, well, we didn't know, or how were we supposed to, or whatever. But the truth is that general managers are there to win. And if you don't win, you don't get to keep your job. That's how it is for general managers. That's how it is for coaches. John Robinson has been the general manager for 5 seasons. He's had 5 winning seasons. And it looks like, knock on wood, it's probably going to be 6. But, man, the Farley thing, everybody and their grandma was like, yeah, I don't know if I can take this guy because the medicals just are awful. And it was like, well, the back injury, Gronk had it, and he came back, and he's and if there was anything you had to knock Rob Gronkowski for over the course of his career, it's that Gronk always fought to stay healthy. He was never for sure healthy. But Farley, he can't get on the field. Dupree, I think that our expectations for Bud Dupree should have been that, hey, it's going to take some time with the ACL. But
why are you giving Bud Dupree that kind of grace and not Caleb Farley?
Because Caleb Farley has a shoulder injury, and it's not that same back injury, and they told us that back injury would be fine by the time it was time to play football.
But approaching Bud Dupree's injury, why is that different?
Because this is the injury that Bud Dupree had. It wasn't like
and it's lingering.
It wasn't like it was Bud's injury prone because Bud tore his ACL.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people tear their ACL.
Yeah.
Bud tore it in December. I brought up yesterday with TD, Jack Conklin did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Conklin missed the first 4 games in 2018. So Conklin tore the ACL in the playoff game against the Patriots. Comes back 4 or 5 games into 2018. They tried to put Bud out there. I actually thought Bud played okay in the first 2 games. But clearly, Bud's not ready to be back out there. That's an ACL thing. I mean, how many people have chronic ACL issues?
I think it's pretty common. If you tear it, sometimes
it'll tear again.
Yes.
But I don't think it's common for you to not ever be able to come back.
Right.
Farley is just hurt. Think about this.
Right, and that's
he was
not
hurt
his fault.
He was hurt his first year. Right, but you don't pick him. That's why you don't pick him.
Then that's the problem here is that the fact that John Robinson picked him. I don't think
that's my point.
I don't think that we can pick on Caleb Farley for being hurt or
right,
saying that it's
nice
an
if
effort
Caleb
thing.
Farley could get back out on the field, but ultimately it's going to be his career.
Yes.
I know that I don't want to sound rude and sit there and say, hey, I know you're trying to play, but if you don't play, your career's done. So sometimes these guys, and I don't know what the situation with Farley is, sometimes these guys got to tough it out, but I'm talking about Robinson here. And I'm saying I don't hold the Bud Dupree injury right now against Robinson.
No.
But I do hold the Farley one against him. And I hold the Farley one against him because when you draft a guy who is always hurt and who has not played football in 2 years and who other teams in the NFL would not draft because he was hurt, and then he gets hurt, that's on you.
That's on John Robinson.
That's on you.
Yes.
I said it the day after they drafted him. I said, I'm not a cryptocurrency guy. I got friends who are. I am not a big crypto guy. And if you invest all of your money in Stillman coin and it explodes and you've got your own private island and you're flying a jet everywhere and you've got $1 bajillion, good for you. But I'll just stay with real estate and the stock market and just maybe hope that I can make a meager living at some point down the road. And I'll feel more comfortable doing that than I will be investing everything into Stillman coin. You draft Caleb Farley because he might be the best corner in the draft, and he still might be. He might come back next year and be Deion Sanders. I don't know. But like I said, it'd be nice if he could get out on the football field. And I do think to the point of the caller about, does the general manager always sign and draft injured players? Yes, he does. He is the opposite of Floyd.
Well, if you look at the injury report this week, Julio Jones, a new acquisition, came in hurt. Bud Dupree, new acquisition, came in hurt. Caleb Farley, drafted hurt. So yes, just the small sample size that we have from John Robinson's tenure as a Titans general manager, just for this year.
Well,
those 3 guys.
Corey Davis was drafted and he was hurt.
But I'm just using
Landry
this week as an example.
Harold Landry was drafted and he was hurt, and Jeffrey Simmons was drafted and he was hurt, and Caleb Farley was drafted and he was hurt, and Bud Dupree was signed and he was hurt. And that's a lot of hurt guys. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones next. 615-737-1025. How would you feel? Because we didn't even talk about this, so I do want to get to this. If they only beat the Jets by a little bit. Again, Corey Curtis told me, and we'll have Corey on in less than an hour. He said, I'm a little worried, that they'll go in there in this game. And how would you feel if they win the game 19-16 like he said? 615-737-1025. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Current deals include half-off gift cards for Retro Snow, Fat Cat Slim, Central Barbecue, Joyland in East Nashville, and Bad Axe Throwing in Nashville. Get your deal now while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals. Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Titans. Jets. It's time to take care of business in the Big Apple. Tune in Sunday at 9:30 for NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. Live from Corner Pub in Brentwood. We are Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN. 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Hey Nashville, it's Jared, and there's a new go-to for home furnishing. Social Furniture on the West Side is independently home-owned furniture store in Nashville. Forget the big box stores. Shop local, shop social.
It's football season, and Social Furniture has the best lifetime guarantee motion furniture on sale now. Their sofas with recliners are push-button electric and wall-away with all colors to choose from for your comfort. Sectionals from $9.99, recliners from $3.99. Sectionals with Chase Lounge and all-electric recliners from $19.99. Social Furniture will have you football ready with all furniture that are plus leather, microfiber, and there's no waiting, and take home your new motion furniture today or with their same-day fine furniture delivery. Social Furniture has no down payments and no interest. You don't want to miss out on their best lifetime guarantee motion furniture sale going on now.
Shop local, shop social. 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road, and tell them Jared Stillman sent you.
Eyes, teeth, we love your whole face. Protect your employees' overall health by adding Delta Dental and Delta Vision plans to your benefits package. These plans offer cost savings in the largest networks of providers. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
We can see your smile, and we think you should be able to see it too. With Delta Dental of Tennessee and Delta Vision, we can improve your overall well-being by keeping your teeth and eyes healthy. Visit deltadentaltn.com to find an affordable plan.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes, my shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. I work hard for my money. I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. Stop being cheap. It's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store. Except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value. Exceptional service and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds, voted best jewelry store year after year. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Tonight, the Nashville Sounds continue their road series up north against the Indianapolis Indians. Coverage begins at 5:50 on ESPN 94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I know you guys had some guys coming back from injuries in training camp or whatever. And they've missed some games. You know, hindsight being 2020.
I'm not gonna. You led a question with injuries. It's Friday. Let's focus on the team and the guys that are gonna play in the game, the Jets, and all that.
It's fair, Mike. You left that open.
There's nothing fair about it. You know what I mean? This is what we're doing. We're going to take guys up there that are gonna play in the football game, that are excited to play, and the ones that are out are out.
Sunday, you decided not to say he was hurt.
With Brett out, comfortable are you with the holding and place kicking situation?
Very comfortable. As comfortable as we always are. You know what I mean? It's sign a guy, he comes in, he punts, we hold, we snap to him. They work their process ad nauseum. So very comfortable that Johnny will do his job that we need him to do on Sunday.
Talk from before practice on Wednesday until after practice on Friday, and we're not allowed to ask about an injury until after practice on Friday?
You can ask anything you want.
You didn't declare.
You can ask anything that you
Okay,
want.
I'm going to ask. You didn't declare Julio hurt on Sunday. You said he was tight on Monday. On Wednesday, he's on the injury report, which leaves it a question still all the way to Friday. How is that what's best for the team rather than just saying
What's best for the
hamstring
team,
questionable
like-
Friday?
Right. He wasn't able to practice, and we labeled him out. We designated him out for this week.
I think I'm actually on Paul's side.
Why?
Because, I don't think a coach should get up there and talk about injuries all the time. But I think sometimes Vrabel just, either don't ever talk about it, or if you are going to talk about it, just keep it real.
And I think that goes back to a conversation we had either yesterday or 2 days ago. But whenever you don't give enough information and you leave room to speculate, people are going to speculate.
Sure.
So you can't get mad when people speculate and say, oh, everyone took my words and twisted them. It's because you're not giving us anything, Mike.
I think Vrabel, and I like Mike, and I don't know if Mike likes me, but I like Mike. I do wonder if Vrabel in his head thinks that he is the reason for the success that he has had as coach of the Titans. And I'm not taking anything away from him, but I don't view him as the reason why they've had success. I view number 22 as the reason why they've had success. And I would always love to see if Vrabel went to a bigger market, didn't have Derrick Henry, what his life would be like. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You say the text line has blown up.
Yes, it has. One texter texts in and says, and I told you at the break, I said I've been shocked at how rational some Titans fans are being going into this game against the Jets.
Ryan Porth texted me and said the Titans will lose one of the next two. Book it. And I think, here's the thing. I'm not going to say I'm on his side with this one. I'm not going to say they're going to lose one of the next two games. I will not be surprised if they lose one of the next two games. For two reasons. One, it's the NFL. And two, it's the Titans. And this is what the Titans do.
If someone said, okay, Titans are going to lose one of these next two, who do you think it'll be? Me personally, I think it would be the Jags.
They have an extra week. They'd be at home.
I think it's a better quarterback.
Probably got a little bit of confidence.
I trust Trevor Lawrence more than I trust Zach Wilson.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm hearing people around the country that watched last night's game and are like, the quarterback position is in good hands in the NFL. I'm like, whoa. Calm down. Joe Burrow in the second half carved up the Jags. Now, if Joe Burrow goes on the road and beats the Buccaneers.
This is the NFL.
Right. If Joe Burrow goes on the road and beats the Buccaneers, now we've got some talking. But I'm like, whoa. Let's let the young quarterbacks be young. I don't think they're going to lose to Urban Meyer. I think it's going to be this one if they lose. But I'm not going to be surprised. What else we got on the text line?
Well, a texter texts in and says, I'm not overlooking the Jets. To my point about some Titans fans being pretty rational about this game. This texter says, plenty of Titans fans aren't overlooking the Jets. Vrabel knows not to overlook teams. Ben Jones mentioned if you do, you'll get beat this week. Good teams win games they should win.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's where the stroke out comes on Monday if they either lose or they win close. Because
good teams win games they're supposed to win.
Even if it's not pretty, you still win the games you're supposed to win. I go back to the 99 Titans. And I know, they lost to a San Francisco team that ended up not being great that year. And they lost to a Ravens team that didn't qualify for the playoffs. And I forget who else they lost to in that regular season. But the Dolphins, who I think they made the playoffs that year, but they weren't very good. And so they lost to teams that weren't as good as them. And you're going to lose to teams that aren't as good as you when you end up in the Super Bowl. But the thing about the 99 and the 2000 Titans, they won they stacked the wins. They stacked them. They went to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals, and they didn't let Corey Dillon go off. And then they went to Cleveland and they beat the Browns. And they beat the Dallas Cowboys at home on Monday night with the playoffs on the line, or with the home field advantage on the line. And they just won a lot of those games. And the Vrabel Titans, I think, will never find themselves until they stop doing this. They'll never find themselves at what was 13-3, now 13-4 or 14-3 or whatever you want to call it. They will not find themselves there until they learn to stop losing these games. And until they learn to stop losing these games, I don't think that we can expect them to stop losing these games. I'll tell you right now, if the Titans win all the games on their schedule that they're supposed to win from here on out, they only need to win one of the 3 games against the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Rams. You win one of those games, and then every other game on the schedule, I think you can make a legitimate case Titans should win. At New England, they should win. At Pittsburgh, they should win. Saints at home, they should win. San Francisco's a little iffy, but for the most part, they should win the rest of their schedule. They should beat the Texans. They should beat the Colts. They should beat those other teams. But I keep saying should, with knowing that this is the NFL and this is the Titans. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Apparently at the end of Vrabel's press conference, he did ultimately answer John Glennon's question.
Well, good. Thank you, Mike.
Apparently
Thank you for
asked
that.
Boy, Floyd would have loved that. Oh, he would have. 615-737-1025. By the way, there is one thing on Sunday that if it happens, oh my goodness. Like somebody's got to hold me back. Hold me back. You know the guy that's always like telling his buddies, hold me back.
You need one of those guys like on the sidelines whose job is to just grab the head coach and bring him back.
You know in women's basketball, that was me at one point.
Was it?
Yeah. There was this referee named Dennis who used to ref in the Big East, and he was a total. I mean, first of all, he sucked as a ref, and he was out of shape, and he just.
Okay, don't come for his health.
You're a ref.
Okay.
Well, if you're out of shape as a basketball player, that hurts your basketball playing, right?
Yes.
And if you're out of shape as a ref in basketball, you can't run up. This ain't baseball where you just stand at the base and it's like, did he swing? And the umpire's like, oh, crap, me. No.
No, he didn't.
No. Now baseball umpiring, you can be so lazy. First of all, like if I ran baseball, like one of the things behind the scenes that would happen is we'd get these umpires in a little bit better shape.
Okay, why are we body shaming the game officials?
These are part of the game.
Okay, well,
this is part of athletic performance.
An umpire does not need to be, fit. He doesn't need to be sculpted.
They don't.
He just stands there.
They don't need to look like they're about to,
They can look however they want to look.
No.
We do not body shame umpires.
No, at some point you got to get to the right side of second base to look down and go, safe. and then even if you get it wrong, then just review it. So it doesn't even matter.
It's not the end all be all.
Like,
so he can stand there eating his sunflower seeds if he wants.
Anywho, so Dennis, we were playing at Marquette, and Dennis and Jeff Walls got into it, and I had to be the one that was like, Coach, come on now. And, you don't want to do it because, you're 20 and he's, makes $1 million and it's like, you're whole, but you just knew it was in the best interest of the team. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025. After 20 years on the same sideline, the FanDuel Sportsbook app is just excited as we are for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It's the GOAT versus the GOAT. And you can be a part of the epic showdown with unbelievable odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Right now, new customers can win $125 on a $5 bet if either team scores a touchdown. That's right, 25-1 odds on any touchdown anytime during the Tampa-New England game. I think it's going to happen, guys. Sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook app using the promo code JGM to make your first bet for the history books. Don't forget to use promo code JGM so they know that I sent you. That is my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $125. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Temperatures today heading to the mid-80s under partly cloudy skies. Same deal for the day on Saturday. Then Sunday, cold front swings through, bringing widespread showers.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The C10 Nationals are here. Friday, October 1st and Saturday, October 2nd at Nashville Superspeedway. The C10 Nationals, one of the largest GM truck shows in the world. Don't miss the autocross, the burnout contest, the dyno, along with vendor midway, swap meet, cruise the track, and more. Cap it all off with a huge award ceremony. Spectator tickets are just $20 per day. Trucks can register at the gate day of the event. Visit C10Nationals.com. That's C10Nationals.com for more information.
Rock Bottom Nashville is Broadway's original brewery, where all brews are brewed on site. Josh Rappaport is Rock Bottom's brewmaster, creating fresh craft beers where peak flavors are always the rule. Grab one of their blockbuster beers to pair with their nachos, pretzel bites, and delicious flatbreads. They even have group catering. They boast one of the best views of downtown Nashville and is a short walk to Titan Stadium. And enjoy happy hour Monday through Friday afternoons from 2 until 6. Rock Bottom Nashville, 111 Broadway.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
When it comes to turnovers and just cleaning that aspect of things up, I know they've come in some different ways, but how do you approach that kind of moving forward since the first 3 games there's been a significant amount?
Yeah, we just have to play clean football. You know, like you said, it's coming in a lot of different areas, and it all works together. So can't pinpoint one thing, but the overall message is, we have to be smart, take care of the football, and clean that up. So excited to have that opportunity to start that this week.
That was Ryan Tannehill on Wednesday talking about turnovers. I was thinking about it this morning, thinking about the Jets game. And I've said, look, I'm scared to death of the Jets game, not because of the Jets. Nothing about the Jets scares me. Not one player on the Jets scares me. Not a single guy. But I just know the Titans. And I got to say this. If Chester Rogers or Nick Westbrook-Akina or those guys fumble the football, I won't be happy. This is the NFL. You need to not fumble the football. Ball security is important. But if Ryan Tannehill turns the football over this week, I think I'm going to lose my mind. Because then I'm going to know something's up. If I get 4 weeks in a row of Ryan Tannehill turning the football over, I am going to lose it on Sunday and subsequently Monday. I mean, I feel like I've kind of stuck my neck out for Ryan Tannehill. There's a basketball coach once that I got to know really well, used to kind of work with him, and then got to know him really, really well. And I really stuck my neck out for this guy. And then some articles came out about, well, this guy, he was abusive to players, and he was this. And I just, it made me sick to my stomach and I didn't know this about the guy, but it just made me sick to my stomach to read these articles about what kind of guy he was with his team. And not to say that this is on the same level, but I have just stuck my neck out for Tannehill for so long. I go back to the second game he started at quarterback, and apparently his numbers weren't very good against the Buccaneers, but the callers would call in about, it was awful, it was this, and I was like, no, it doesn't matter about the numbers. Tannehill, he's the guy. And the AFC Championship game, well, he proved he can't win you that game. I'm like, no, he's the guy. And I really have supported Tannehill. But if you go out against the Jets, you turn the football over, and it becomes something where all of a sudden through 4 games you've turned it over 7 times or 6 times, dude, you can't be quarterback on this team. Now, again, let me state for the record, that is not me saying they should bench him or put in somebody else, but the team that you all want to have, he can't be quarterback of. Because the team you want to have is a team that plays smart, that is efficient, that gives the football to Derrick Henry and does not let other people in the game. And that's exactly what the turnovers will let you do. And if you lose, I'm guessing it's going to be because you turn the football over. So that's the one thing I'm looking at this week with Tannehill. I don't need you to throw for 400 yards. I don't need you to throw for 3 touchdowns. I don't need you to throw a touchdown every time in the red zone. I don't need you to do. This is the Jets. I just need you not to turn the football over. Because I don't know anything about this punter that's going to come in and punt this week. But punting is not bad to the Jets. Let them do the turnovering.
Turning over?
That too.
Yep.
Let them turn the football over. But no turnovers. If Tannehill turns it over this week against that crap team, then we got a problem here. And maybe it's a lack of practice. Maybe it's Tannehill trying to be something he's not. I don't know. But if I was the coach, I would sit down with Tannehill and I would say, do not turn the ball over this week. Do not turn it over. Now, I don't know what kind of leverage you have there because it's not like you are going to sit him and it's not like you can cut him or anything like that. But, I mean, just
don't do it.
Oh, I'm going to lose my mind if he turns the football over this week.
Well, I think after, the Seattle game, after the Indianapolis game, you can look at it like, yes, the Titans got a win, but there are so many mistakes that they made that didn't make you feel good moving forward. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is that same kind of logic here, that if the Titans turn the football over, they should still win this game, but it doesn't make you feel good about whenever you play the Rams, whenever you play the Chiefs, whenever you play the Bills. Because if you're getting pressured enough to turn the ball over against the Jets, I can guarantee you the Bills and the Chiefs are going to put enough pressure on you to turn the ball over against them, and you're not going to be able to win those games.
5 years ago, Tennessee played Texas A&M. The Vols were top 10. A&M was top 10. Both teams, I think, ended up stinking that year. But at this point in time, they were both top 10. And Tennessee went to A&M and turned the ball over 7 times. I think they fumbled at 6. They missed a field goal. They fumbled the ball, and Butch got up at the podium after the game and said, to be in the game with the top 10 team and go into overtime and have turned the ball over 7 times. I mean, just imagine if we didn't turn the ball over 7 times.
That's a good one.
And he said that, and I literally was like, oh, no. Oh, no. And, the apologetic fans, you know how apologetic fans get. Mm-hmm. They were apologetic. Uh-huh. And it was like, yeah, Jared, what if we didn't turn the ball over 7 times? We'd have beat A&M at A&M.
Well, what if? And I
remember
if they didn't score 4 touchdowns, we could have won that game.
Oh, it was everything, too, with that, about the turnovers. And I remember Floyd sitting there during a break, and I go, you don't think Butch is a very good coach, do you? He goes, well, I don't know if he's a good coach. He goes, and he's just looking outside the window of the studio, and he goes, Butch isn't really my kind of guy.
It's a very nice way of saying
he's
not coaching for me.
The excuses of the 7 turnovers, that's not really my kind of guy. Oh, by the way, here's another thing that would scare Floyd to death this week. And I think a lot of my scared to death, I said this when he died on the radio. I said that a part of me died when he died, but a part of him will live with me for forever. And this is an example of that, of how scared I am of this Jets game. Ian, do you know what I think would just scare the crap out of him this week?
Changing punter.
Changing the punter. Oh, my goodness. Would he be beside himself this week about changing the punter? Because the Jets, now I don't know anything about the Jets special teams. I'm guessing it's terrible because,
I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
They should rush the punter every time. Rush the punter every time. You change punters, you're probably going to block one. So he would be just scared to death.
And that Kern is the field goal holder.
That would bother him, too.
He would not like
bother
that.
Him.
Does that bother you? Brett Kern being out?
I mean, because I know it would bother him.
Yes.
Here's the thing. They changed the punters last year, and it cost them the Colts game. So It's like, how do we feel about all that? 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones on the Titans and the Jets. Plus, Corey Curtis is going to come at me at 3:15. So I'm going to lay it all out there, whether or not Corey should or shouldn't. We'll get into that coming up as well. But Caroline wants to tell you all about BetUS.
I want to tell you about my official sports book, and that is BetUS. Football is finally back. You can put some money on the college games this weekend. Titans traveling to New York, put some money on that. BetUS has been America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years, and that is exactly why I endorse them. They have integrity, they have longevity, and when you win on BetUS, you know that you're going to get paid. That's really all you need in a sportsbook. Plus, they offer everything. They have live bets, MMA, golf, horses, esports, of course, football, so get in on the action and call them today. They'll walk you through setting up an account. It's super easy. I've done it. All you have to do is call 1-800-79-BET-US. Their number is 1-800-79-BET-US. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. You can get up to 200% in bonuses. And if you join now and you mention GAME, you can get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. Nobody in the industry beats that. I bet at BetUS. So should you. So go now to BetUS.com. Join today. Put in promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, and you can get a nice little sign-up bonus on your first deposit. That is BetUS.com.
the voice of reason.
That whole operation and choices and the plan and everything looked like garbage.
The voice of the fan.
There's a lot of loyal fans paying a lot of good money, and we just feel like we deserve the decency to give us a little bit more of an answer there.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
When you purchase a certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, you have the power of the star backing your car to meet certification standards. A car has to be less than 6 years old with less than 75,000 miles. All certified vehicles come with 24/7 personal assistance and an extra 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. Right now, you can get 1.99% financing for 36 months on select 2017 to 2019 certified models at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. See more at mbofmc.com.
Your home value is way up this year, and with mortgage rates back to all-time lows, it's a great time to call Loan Pronto. Refinance now and get cash out of your home's equity. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Loan Pronto can refinance your loan at a super low rate. They can pay the closing costs for you and get you a bunch of cash out. How does $40,000 or $50,000 sound? Don't just sit on that home's new value. Use it. Use it to pay off credit cards. Use it to consolidate other debt. Get rid of PMI. Use IT to make your home even more valuable with that home improvement project you've been dreaming about. Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it fast and easy. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now, 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost cash-out refi. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Zero cost option not available on all loans.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. And, of course, it is a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Corey Curtis, News 2, in a little bit over 10 minutes. And we are going to argue about my Corey Davis take yesterday.
I'm very excited.
I think the Corey Davis pick by John Robinson, biggest mistake of his tenure as general manager because the stakes were so high.
And that's, I think, where everything's getting a little bit lost in translation, because I don't think anyone could argue with the fact that the single worst pick probably was Isaiah Wilson. But considering the circumstances, considering the pick, considering what has happened since then, and considering what you gave up to get said player, whether it was Corey Davis or Isaiah Wilson, I think that's where the meat of this lies.
And, I mean, again, like, biggest mistake. I think it's always, like, people sometimes they think that it's like if you went out in Game 7 of the World Series and you went 0 for 4, but you only had 3 strikeouts, you wouldn't say, well, that game in Milwaukee when I went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts on a Tuesday in July was a bigger disappointment than Game 7 of the World Series. The 5th overall draft pick in the NFL needs to be better than Corey Davis. I mean, as simple as is. Needs to be a better player.
Well, it's the opportunity cost of Corey Davis.
The player picked before him, or excuse me, the player picked after him was Jamal Adams. Like, you've got to... Patrick Mahomes was after him. Deshaun Watson was after him.
Trey White.
You have to get a better player. TJ Watt. I mean, they're all out there. So
That
Corey
was
and
an
I will
insane
argue
draft.
about that. Titans had 2 picks 2 picks in the first round drafted Corey Davis and Adoree Jackson.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. Let's get back to your phones, though, before we get to Corey. 615-737-1025. Just to reset it, I'm scared to death of this game. Has nothing to do with the Jets. Has nothing to do with their rookie quarterback. Has nothing to do with their defense that Mike Vrabel says one of the best fronts they'll play this year. Okay, Mike. It has everything to do with the fact that the Titans have all their injuries, and I just see them, stumbling sleepy-eyed in New York on Sunday afternoon, and it's going to be a little bit chillier because it's in New York and it's October.
Beautiful this time of year.
Get the ball going, and then Tannehill throws an interception, and then they score on a touchdown, and now it's 14-3, and it's like, wait a minute. Oh, my God, we're in a dogfight with the Jets, and you're on the road, and then it's a pass interference here, and then all of a sudden, oh, my God, you just lost the Jets.
Wow.
That's what I'm scared of.
Wow. That's a very specific fear.
Happened to the Bengals yesterday. They just happened to find a way to win at the end. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone lines on this Fireball Hot Take Friday are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
JD agrees with you. JD texts in and says the Titans won't dominate on Sunday because that's what they should do. Vrabel's Titans have never been able to show up and play to the higher level that they play with against teams like the Chiefs. They're notoriously bad about playing down to their competition instead of always playing and executing at a higher level.
What do we make of this thing? Because Paul Kaharski asked Vrabel about it last week, and he asked Ryan Tannehill about it last week. And it was kind of, before this Colts game, when you guys are the underdogs, you guys are always ready to go, but shouldn't it be like that in games that you're expected to win? And Tannehill's response was, oh, that's not how we do things around here.
Well,
and
that's what he's supposed to say.
Crap, Ryan.
Well, even if he doesn't think that's how it should be, even if that's not his philosophy, I'm sure he thinks his philosophy is we go into every game with the same mindset. Every single game is the next one up. Every game is the Super Bowl. I understand that that's how he thinks he should think, or even if he thinks that's how he thinks, but that's not necessarily how the Titans do things week in and week out.
But I'm not so worried about that as much as I'm struggling to understand why that is the case.
I mean, it's
I'm not worried about what he said.
But
I'm
why
worried
is that?
about why can Vrabel not get these boys ready to play in a game like this?
I mean, it's the same thing with the Seahawks. I think all of us picked the Titans to beat the Seahawks for the mere reason that we didn't think that they could. For the reason that the Seahawks are, on paper, significantly better than the Titans, but the Titans rise to their opponents, and they were able to go into Seattle and get a win. And I picked the Titans to win for no reason other than that's what they do. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is. It's great when it works out when the Titans travel to Seattle and beat the Seahawks. It's frustrating when they go to New York and they, may or may not beat this Jets team.
And this is the NFL.
This is the NFL.
What we got?
Another texter texts in and says, usually I'm like you, Jared. I'm terrified of playing these teams with nothing to lose, but this week I'm actually excited and looking forward to the Jets game. I think for the mere fact that Bud, Julio, and AJ are out will give us an advantage. What we have seen, even against the good teams that we've played, the replacements have done a good job.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I think that's a great idea how to win. You know what? We're better off without Michael, Scotty, and Dennis. Let's go ahead and sit them out. Jeb Bushler, you're in. I think we're better off without Kobe and Shaq. All right. Let's see. Mark Madsen, get in there.
Well, who put points on the board for the Titans last week?
Who fumbled the ball?
Fair.
Who didn't catch it when it
Yes.
was thrown right to him?
Yes, Nick Westbrook-Akina. Yes.
And Chester Rogers.
But who scored touchdowns?
Here's the thing.
Jeremy McNichols and Nick Westbrook-Akina.
Are not going, if you want to rely on those guys every week, you go ahead and rely on them. I'm not. And to the whole point about this being the NFL, the reason you're better than the Jets is because you have better players than the Jets, and the better players are the Julio Joneses and the A.J. Browns. I think if for no other reason why the Titans should win this game is because they should just be able to turn around and hand the ball to Derrick Henry 50 times if they have to. Last year they went to Cincinnati. They couldn't stop anybody in the Cincinnati game, and they lost it. And there was a blown call at the end that I think would have put the Titans back in the game, and they may have won that game had they done that, where Jayon Brown had an interception that they called back with a pass interference caller. I don't know. It was awful. It was a bad call. And they took it off the board, and it would have totally changed the game. But Arthur Smith came out in that game, and he wanted to throw. And there was one drive where they just went Derrick, and they had the kid that used to play at Texas, Deontay Foreman, was the backup running back. that ran the ball behind Derek, like Mekhi Sargent is now. And in that drive, they put Foreman in, and he ran the ball against them. And then they put Derek back in there, and it was literally an entire drive where they just handed the ball to Derrick Henry on every play. And the Bengals couldn't stop it. And I'm like, okay, at this point in time, to avoid the crisis of losing to Cincinnati, I am going to hand the ball to Derek on every play. And they didn't do it. Tannehill did turn the ball over in the end zone. And so those are the things that I feel like with this Jets game, even though AJ's out, even though Julio's out, even though Bud Dupree's out, that they should be able to win just by handing the ball to Derrick Henry. But I know it's more complicated than that. But this idea of, hey, the younger, hungrier guys, that's what we should. No. The one good thing about this game is if I'm Mike Vrabel, and he would never say it, but he should, I'd go to that receiver room and I'd go, you drop the ball, you're off the team. You fumble the ball, you're off the team. You screw up, you're off the team. Because he can say it to the receivers this week. He can look at Cam Batson and say, you screw up, pack your bags. You screw up, Nick Westbrook-Akina, beat it. You can say it to those guys. You can't do that to AJ and Julio. Nick Williams dropped a game-winning touchdown in a game just like this 3 years ago. And guess what? He was gone. And he's the best punt returner they've had since Vrabel's been the coach. But he was gone. And so I'm for that. This idea that the younger, hungrier players, no. You win this game because Landry and Simmons and Byard and Henry and Tannehill, because you have better, more experienced players than they do. So the idea of taking good players out and feeling okay about it is not something you are ever going to see me feel. So that texture is off his rocker.
I think that's fair.
615-737-1025. We'll get back to your texts and your calls, but Corey Curtis from News 2 will join us. We will argue about what I think is a flawed take. We will do that next. His take on the Corey Davis thing, about his opinion of my opinion. Now, I almost never do this. Normally people think, a lot of people would not be surprised to know that others disagreeing with my opinion is not something new to me. But the theory that I have always approached this with is that's my opinion. And so you have a blog or a show or whatever to discuss your opinion of my opinion. But I'm not going to go on your show to talk to you about your opinion of my opinion. You can just talk about your opinion of my opinion. I don't need to go on your show to do it. Like, there's a sports blog out there, and I think they tried to act like they were going to be more than a sports blog, but it's really just a bunch of fanboys that are like, this is our new blog. And I don't think anybody reads this stuff, but every day I feel like they're picking a fight with me. And they all have like the little same Twitter. So I see this thing up in my thing every time. And it's like, I don't care about your opinion of my opinion. So Corey Curtis, this is an exception. I care about Corey's opinion of my opinion. You know why I care about it?
Why?
Because he's got the wrong opinion.
Okay, there we go.
Corey Curtis will join us next, News 2, here on Stillman & Company. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Going with them like I do at my home is the right opinion. And I'm glad that I use Hiller because, as always, happy you will be or the service is free. That's the guarantee that they have at Hiller. You've noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves everywhere. Now, there are serious shortages on equipment and products for your home. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited in 2022. If you need a replacement, call our friends at Hiller today. Don't wait until you are out of options. Hiller has special financing available. Buy now and pay nothing until next year. Their work is backed by the happy you'll be or service is free guarantee. Learn more at Hiller.com. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and, HappyHiller.com. HappyHiller.com. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
His shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators third of the night.
Nashville Predators training camp is underway.
The Nashville Predators back in action.
We're closing in on the new season.
You still have some really good pieces and some young players that were really good last year.
And your only home for coverage of the Preds is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Dan Abrams and his live PD sidekick Styx return in a new program, Dan Abrams Live, weeknights at 8, 7 Central on News Nation.
The 2021 Major League Soccer season isn't over yet, Nashville. Are you in? There are just 2 regular season home matches remaining as we make our final push for a playoff spot. Don't miss the action on Wednesday, October 20th at 7:30 p.m. against the Columbus Crew. Or catch the last regular season match of the season on Sunday, November 7th at 2:30 p.m. against New York Red Bulls at Nissan Stadium. Come be a part of the most unique sports experience in Nashville. Tickets are on sale now from just $22 at NashvilleSC.com. Everyone in.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Camarena CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Camarena CBD. Camarena means healing, and that right there says it all. Camarena is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Camarena is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets too. Order yours now at CarenaCompany.com. Camarena CBD, curated for life.
If you are experiencing persistent shoulder pain, that may be the result of overuse or an injury such as a rotator cuff tear or tendonitis. The world-class orthopedic team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics will give you the appropriate medical attention to prevent any additional damage to the shoulder. Chronic pain or a permanent injury may occur without proper treatment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you work and live. Visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The 1947 Notre Dame Fighting Irish entered the season with quarterback Johnny Lujack, the Heisman favorite, and an offensive line considered one of the greatest in college football. The talented Irish squad didn't disappoint. They went on to an undefeated season and won the national championship after defeating unbeaten and third-ranked USC 38-7. 46 players went on to play in the NFL.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Recruiting is what separates you from the rest of the field. It's true in college football and even truer in business. LinkedIn Jobs is here to help your small business find the candidates worth interviewing faster. And it's free. Create a free job post in minutes to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of 770 million people. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. You could have your star talent in place this fall. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving. Fireball Hot Take Friday. As I said earlier today, I usually do not argue with people's opinions of my opinion. Corey Curtis today is an exception, mainly because I always love arguing with Corey, but he joins us now on the program. Yesterday I said that Corey Davis, the selection of Corey Davis, was the single biggest mistake John Robinson has made as general manager of the Titans because the stakes were so high. And as I put out the video where you can watch, because again, we're streaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, Corey said, I don't have to watch to know how crazy this take is. Because they drafted Kevin Dodd and they drafted Isaiah Wilson without the context of the stakes being so high. Corey Curtis brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone health and wellness, and body shaping treatments. InvigorateHealthTN.com for more info. Corey, my biggest issue with your opinion of my opinion is that I almost felt like you didn't hear what I had to say about why the Corey Davis pick was the biggest mistake. And then once you went on the train of, well, it wasn't as bad as Isaiah Wilson, you were done with understanding the ramifications that came with the Titans not trading out of that pick or not picking a better player with copious amounts of guys that could help this football team out there on the board.
Jared,
I understand what you're saying. I do. I just don't agree with it. He's a guy who helped the football team for 4 years. We all know he didn't pan out to the 5th overall pick level that we expected him to or thought he would. But he was still a decent player for the Tennessee Titans. He was the number 1 or number 2 for them for 4 years, helped them get to 6 playoff games, okay? He wasn't a scrub. The Jets gave him $12.5 million a year. He's not a scrub, okay? I understand what you're saying, that they could have traded him, in your opinion, for multiple picks. You don't know that. You don't know that John Robinson had multiple picks.
I mean, I'm going to assume that if 5 picks later, Kansas City traded multiple picks to move up, that you could have gotten multiple picks for the earlier selection in the draft. And I don't know how good those picks would have been, but 2 1s and a 3, I probably wouldn't have taken. But I'm sure that if Kansas City was willing to do 2 1s and a 3 to move up to 10, surely ahead of the Jets that year, who had a quarterback, it probably would have been better than 2 1s and a 3 in order for them to get the guy that rightfully so they just absolutely coveted. And that's what bothers me, is that, like, I think the best move Robinson's made, the best decision Robinson has made as general manager of the time. What would you say Robinson's best decision has been?
Trading for Ryan Tannehill.
So I would say it was the trade with the Rams. That moving out of the number 1 pick and ending up with what you ended up with and the players you got, Conklin, Jonnu Smith, Derrick Henry, and Corey Davis, was the best move that he made. Tannehill's too.
It was unquestionably a lucrative move. There's no doubt about it. But the single player who changed the franchise the most is the guy throwing the football.
You think it's more than Derrick Henry?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. I want to talk about this take. You think that it's more important that they traded for Tannehill than it was that they drafted Derrick Henry?
Look, Derrick Henry is very good. He's the best player on this team. I'm not saying that. But the single most important position in all of professional sports is the guy who takes the snaps. And if you don't have that guy, you don't win, okay? It's that simple. It's that simple. I grew up watching Walter Payton, who was phenomenal. And you know what? With Bob Avellini at quarterback, the Bears stunk. With Mike Phipps at quarterback, the Bears stunk. With Vince Evans at quarterback, the Bears stunk. With Greg Landry at quarterback, the Bears stunk. It wasn't until they got Jim McMahon that they could start winning some games, okay? Derrick Henry is phenomenal, and he is a huge cornerstone of this team moving forward. There is no question about it. But you don't get where you need to go without the signal caller.
So I think that that's easy to say, but one of the reasons that
that's why.
One of the reasons I'm really excited to read the new Brady Belichick book, and I told this story the other day, Corey, you know, that juicy Brady Belichick book that really makes Belichick look bad. I said the other day, I was sitting in the office 2 years ago, and Floyd took out his phone, and he got an email from Seth Wickersham, who was asking if he could set up a time to sit down with Floyd. And Floyd deleted the email from Seth Wickersham, the author of the Brady Belichick book. Floyd deleted the email from Seth Wickersham, chuckled, and I said, "You're not even going to email him back and say no thank you?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Why not?" He goes, "Bill doesn't want me talking, and I don't want to be talking." And then he chuckled. And so my theory is, while I'm not saying that Wickersham's lying or that Wickersham didn't do his job in reporting, I do think that this doesn't have the Bill Belichick side of the story. But one of the reasons that I'm excited to read this book is because I wonder in there if we're going to find out, because it's obviously very Brady slanted. I'm wondering if we're going to find out what interest level John Robinson and Mike Vrabel had prior to Ryan Tannehill taking that job.
Yeah,
So
no, I think that's legit.
I think they could have found another quarterback. I don't think that they could find another Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry might be the best player in the league. And over the last 25 games, he's the best running back in the history of the NFL.
He is, look, like I said, he is unbelievable. But this team has won playoff games and been to the playoffs. Derrick has been a centerpiece to it. But if you don't have the quarterback to do it, they can pile up 8, 9, 10 guys in the box and just make it impossible. We've seen it. We've seen it. You gotta have that guy. I mean, how many great running backs have gone on and not won the Super Bowl, or won the Super Bowl when they got the right quarterback. I mean, you could say Elway didn't win the Super Bowl until he got the right running back. Sure. I'm just telling you. I mean, everybody – Marcus Mariota was an important piece in the Titans going from 2 wins and 3 wins to 9 wins. But Tannehill is the next piece to take them to the next level. And I just don't know that they get there without him. And you're right. Henry has been ungodly the last 2 years. But his first 2 years, he was mediocre at best. And, that doesn't take away from what he's doing right now. I think it makes it more impressive because he was willing to work and change and to get better. And so people always get mad at me when I say that. I think it's a compliment. And I'm not saying getting Derrick Henry isn't important. Getting great play, getting Taylor Lewan on this team was important. I mean, because they needed to have that guy. Getting Ben Jones in was important. Getting Roger Saffold was important. These pieces are all important. Some more important than the others. We're talking about the two who are probably the most important in arguing which one.
Sure. I would say, though, like Jack Conklin. And Jack Conklin was a good player for the Titans. But we had somebody yesterday that texted into the show that said, not bringing back Jack Conklin was John Robinson's biggest mistake. And I'm like, well, since they didn't bring back Jack Conklin, they were 11-5 and made the playoffs, and their highest-rated player on Pro Football Focus, who I hate Pro Football Focus. Yep. The highest-rated player right now on offense is David Questonberry. And again, I don't believe that, but I'm just telling you David Questonberry has held his own at right tackle. So even though Conklin may be a great right tackle, to me, he's not it's not as important to your point as Tannehill is because you can replace that guy. I completely agree with you. I completely agree. Some positions are just harder and more harder to place and more important because, like you're saying, even Taylor Lewan, they lost last year and averaged 30 points a game and had a 2,000-yard rusher. They were able to replace him at a much lower price point, and that's something that we have to look at next year. But there are some guys that are just harder to replace because you're saying, well, they could have gotten Brady. All right, well, that's your only choice to be better than Tannehill really right now of guys they could have gotten. And so they would have had to have landed him. Now, you know me, I was all in on Tannehill and Jadeveon Clowney, bringing them both in. And I kind of whiffed on both of them because one came and stunk and the other one went somewhere else and won the Super Bowl. Well, I would say the other point to your point about you're banking on Brady, and I've always thought, like, okay, if the Titans were really that bad, where they were headed when Mariota was the quarterback and they made the switch, would Brady have wanted to come here because people wouldn't have known that the Titans were going to be that good? Except that I remember doing the shows where we thought the Titans were going to be bad that year, and it was Justin Herbert, maybe? Oh, no, can't draft the Oregon guy after the – so you never know with any of this stuff, but Corey Curtis is our guest from News 2. You texted me earlier in the week. I led the show off with this today. You said you're worried the Titans are going to play an ugly game on Sunday. Julio's out. AJ's out. Bud Dupree's out. You're worried that they're going to play an ugly game and win something like 19-16. And I told you and I said today that if that happens on Monday, Ryan Porth better have an ambulance out in the driveway and somebody sitting here like a high school basketball game because I'm going to go bananas if that happens. And the more I talk about this game, the more I am scared to death of it, and it has nothing to do with the Jets. What do you think about this game?
No, I mean, we've been here before. I mean, go back to the Bungles last year, all right? They went there, and they just were terrible. That day they went to Carolina and lost before they really started getting it turned on. That was not a good Panthers team. And they went and they just played so poorly. I think Mike Vrabel has done a nice job this week with the messaging of trying to reset his team. And I think the injury situation should get his team's attention about the way they come out and play. But look, Henry's going to have a big day. And the offensive line is going to have to produce, and the defense is going to have to make some turnovers because it doesn't matter who you play in the NFL. We know the Jets stink, right? The Jets stink. But you know what we also know? They're in the National Football League. And in the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars can have you down 14-0 at halftime on Thursday Night Football, okay? So don't think that the Titans are above losing this game. And that's the one thing I get from fans all week long is, well, rest Julio, rest AJ, rest them this week and next week, and then we'll get them ready for Buffalo. Just assuming that they're going to win these games. That is not the way the National Football League works. Now, can they win without those guys? Yes, they can. But I don't know that they can overcome 3 turnovers or overcome a start like they had in Arizona. I mean, they're going to have to come out ready and punch the Jets in the nose and show them early that they're here to get a W and get out of town. Because if not, it's going to be a classic Titans road game rock fight where the numbers on the scoreboard are going to be like numbers you don't normally see, like 1960.
Corey Curtis, News 2, our guest. Let's take your house. And I'm going to guess that you live in a nice house. So I'm going to put the total
Thanks,
at.
man.
And you say, hey, you used to live by Floyd, so I know you have a nice house. So let's value Corey's house at what? $800,000?
Sure. That
Sure.
sounds great.
I would love that. I would love that.
$800,000 house. All I know is you live by Floyd, and I don't know how much Floyd's cost, but I have a pretty good idea.
We lived in the same county, Jared.
Well, you know what? That county is the nice county. So
that's what they won't let you in.
$800,000. Ryan Porth texted me today and said book it, that they're going to lose one of these 2 games to Jacksonville and the Jets. If you had to bet your $800,000 house on, it's binary, yes or no. Yes, they lose one of these 2. No, they win them both. Where would you put your house?
Wow. I mean, because that I don't like either answer there. Now, if they were healthy, that's an easy decision. I would say take care of business, go get it. I would feel good about it. I don't know. I just know this. If I made this wager, my wife would absolutely kill me. But that's not the question. You're telling me I have to bet one way or another.
Yes.
You know, the game in Jacksonville scares me more than the Jets game. It really does, because I think more of Trevor Lawrence than I do of Zach Wilson. So that game scares me more right now. But I will say I believe in Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry, and I will close my eyes and put the deed down on the two-tone blue.
Ooh. I mean, if I had to put my house on one of them, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a great choice.
I put you in the corner there on that. I don't know what I would do.
I was totally in the corner.
The one thing I take umbrage with, though, with what you just said was the idea of if they were healthy, then this would be easy. Dude, we've seen them screw up these games healthy for years. Like, let's not. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, Nick Westbrook-Akina and those guys can screw up easier than Julio and AJ, but let's not say we haven't seen them screw up these games healthy. Corey Curtis with us, News 2, our guest. Fireball Hot Take Friday. What's your hot take this week?
You know what? I think I don't know how hot this is. The defense scores this week, point blank. The defense is going to get a touchdown.
I think that's a hot take. I mean, the Titans haven't turned the ball over all week.
No,
or all
they've
year,
gotten one turnover all season with Kevin Byard. But the Jets are only rushing for 80 yards a game. And I like the Titans' run defense for the most part to this point. And if they can force Zach Wilson, they're going to get some mistakes, okay? And I feel like it's coming. I do agree with Mike Vrabel that Harold Landry is there. He's got other guys that are there. They got a rookie quarterback who does not know how to protect the football like some veteran quarterbacks do. That thing's going to come out. They're going to get their hands on it. They're going to get 6 points.
Corey Curtis, News 2. As always, Corey, appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Jared. It's always funny. People think we get mad at each other. We're just having good fun. That's all. I can't help
Corey's
it.
one of my
Stupid
favorites.
Sometimes.
It's just fodder.
It's just fodder. Thank you, Tom. Corey Curtis, News 2. We'll see you, Corey.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Yep. Corey Curtis, News 2, joining us in the program. It's just fodder.
It's just fodder.
It's just fodder.
I didn't really mean that he was an MFer. It was just fodder.
Just fodder. It's so funny listening to Tom say that. My friend has an 8-year-old son. His name's Emerson. And, like, the way, like, every now and then, like, I'll kind of throw zingers at him or whatever.
Right.
And then every now and then I'll be like, I just thought, whatever. And when I hear Brady say, It's just fodder. It's like I hear the 8-year-old.
The sweet 8-year-old. Like, I didn't mean it. I take it back. I went too far. I'm sorry.
I will say that. Brady says some really nice things about Floyd, too, though. So, there's always a big thing in my heart about Tom Brady. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I've got a UT football thought. Caroline apparently is going to the game.
I am.
How long is the drive?
From here to St. Louis, it's like 4.5, and then from St. Louis to Columbia, it's like an hour and a half.
I first of all would like to state for the record that I was not invited on this trip.
Would you like to come? You're more than welcome. We've got an extra bedroom at my parents' house.
I think I'm busy that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wrestling's on.
I haven't decided for sure. I think I'm going to the Preds game tomorrow night.
You should. That'd be a blast.
Now, you got to show proof of vaccination. And you can get this Clear Health app, and it's really not that hard to do. Mm-hmm. It takes you like maybe 3 minutes. You get the little Clear Health app, and then boom, every time you walk in, it's just like green, go.
That's easy.
If not, though, if you just take a picture of your vaccination card,
it won't work.
No. If you take a picture of your vaccination card and your ID, you can show it when you go to the game, and they'll let you in.
That's very easy.
That just letting everybody know who's planning on going to the Preds game tomorrow. That's kind of the way. Now, also, you can show a negative COVID test, and I don't know the details about all that because I don't have to get one because I'm vaccinated. Mm-hmm. But the Clear Health app, you can do it, go right into Bridgestone Arena with the little green check mark or picture of your vaccination card and your ID. Speaking of, so I got a UT football thought I want to get to next. Edmunds, my friends at Edmunds, buying a car can be overwhelming, especially now that the demand is back and in full swing. Lucky for you, Edmunds has been taking all the stress out of car shopping for over 50 years. Edmunds editors drive over 500,000 miles every year, testing thousands of hours on hundreds of new vehicles. They review almost every car on the market and rank the best ones in each category so you can narrow your search and compare options side by side to find the best vehicle for you. When you're ready, Edmunds makes it easy to find options in your area with accurate price estimates. They have helpful filters so you can search by color, model, special features, engine type, drivetrain, price, distance, and more. They even show you dealerships that are offering home delivery. Edmunds is here to guide you to your perfect vehicle. Visit Edmunds.com to see their best car rankings and search for vehicles near you. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
Titans. Jets. It's time to take care of business in the Big Apple. Tune in Sunday at 9:30 for NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. Live from Corner Pub in Brentwood. We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Richard Mosqueda spent 3 months shopping for a diamond and ended up buying one from a New York company online.
I looked online forever. I looked everywhere, and I finally found a great deal.
Well, he thought it was a great deal until he took the stone over to Genesis Diamonds to compare it with a Genesis stone.
And then I brought it here, and they gave me a better price and a better quality. The quality was so much better, and the price was so much better. You couldn't beat their price here.
So Richard boxed up the online diamond, got his money back, and bought the Genesis diamond. Not only did he get a better deal and a better diamond, he got lifetime service at no charge.
To me, there's a value to having a local place that says that we'll take care of everything. We'll clean your ring, we'll size it, and online you can't do that. And on top of that, they had to get the guarantees here and the warranties here were unbelievable.
Genesis Diamonds, where Nashville gets engaged.
Genesis is the best. They'll work with you, the customer service is unbelievable, and you can't beat the price.
Voted year after year as the best place in Nashville to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
You don't need to go anywhere else, just go to Genesis.
Genesis Diamonds.
Hey, mortgage rates have taken a nosedive, back to the lowest in history. Don't miss your chance to lock in a lower house payment with Loan Pronto now. Hey, it's Willie Donna. Call Loan Pronto today and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. You can get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees and no closing costs. Yes, they pay your closing costs. Who else does this? Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy. Virtually no paperwork required, and most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Think about that little bonus. Call Loan Pronto now and start the process before rates spike again. Get your forever loan today. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. If your current mortgage rate starts with a 3, you need to act now. 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero cost option.
Here they come. Turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Every Saturday morning at 9, we hit the big topics. The Ally 400, Kyle Busch, frustrated, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and talk to the big names.
I'll go ahead and blame you.
Oh, I think it's big.
Could go a lot of different directions right now.
I was so impressed.
How cool that's going to be.
It's Chasing Checkers, Saturday morning at 9 on ESPN 102.5 The Game and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company. Hey, be sure, I think it should be noted, let me tell all the fine folks out there something that I was supposed to be ready to tell them. Be sure to tune into the NFL Game of the Week on ESPN 94.9, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. The Game of the Week is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Green Bay Packers kickoff set for 3:25. Vols at Missouri. Missouri favored in this game. And I'm looking at Tennessee's schedule. And I hate doing this because the thing about football, the NFL, there's more surprises, I think, than college. But especially this year, I feel like there's been a lot of surprises in college football. But the Vols have not been one of them. They've won the games they were supposed to win. They've lost the games that we kind of thought they would lose. And the Pittsburgh game was a little bit of a toss-up game, but they lost that, and I don't think anyone was surprised that they lost. The rest of their schedule seems pretty obvious. They're going to lose to Ole Miss. They're going to lose to Alabama. They're going to lose to Kentucky. They're going to lose to Georgia. Fair?
Kentucky could be a toss-up. Out of those four, if there's one that Tennessee could win, it's that one.
I think Kentucky's going to put a giant foot up Tennessee's rear end.
I would put my money on Kentucky, but I'm not going to mail it in as a, for sure loss.
South Carolina, South Alabama, Vanderbilt, they're going to win.
Yes.
Then there's this game. 3-point dogs on the road at Missouri. If they win, they go 6-6 and go to a bowl. If they lose, they go 5-7 and don't make a bowl. Is this the one game this year where we can look at Josh Heupel and say, you got to win this game? Yeah, find a way to win this game. Like, again, even though college football can be kooky and crazy, they're not going to beat Ole Miss or Alabama.
No.
So maybe there's a game they could pick up. Like, they're not going to lose to Vandy.
No.
They're not going to lose to South Carolina.
They'll beat South Alabama.
This feels like the one game on the schedule for Tennessee football that is not predetermined. And I got to tell you, I don't really think much of Missouri. I watched them play Kentucky this year, and I was surprised because people would come out with their SEC power rankings after the Kentucky-Missouri game, and they would rank Missouri ahead of Kentucky. And I'm like, how can you do that? Kentucky dominated them in that game. Kentucky was clearly the better team. Now, the game was in Lexington, but, I don't think much of Missouri. They're not. There's nothing sexy about. They're not one of these dregs, Vanderbilt, South Carolina. But I look at this like with Josh Heupel, and anytime you're a first-year coach, there's always some level of grace because you can always blame every issue on the last guy. But there's something with this that I just don't feel comfortable about, and I'm like, you know what? This should be a game that should open a lot of eyes because when James Franklin turned around Vanderbilt, these kind of games he'd win. Sam Pittman at Arkansas won these kind of games last year.
The fringy games.
Yes, the games that are are they as good? And then Sam Pittman goes out there with Felipe Franks and spanks the Vols on national TV. And it's like, whoa, who thought they'd lose to Arkansas? And so, and I remember when Joe Moorhead got the Mississippi State job. And they played a couple of games like this, including one at Tennessee. And they got crushed by Jarrett Garantano. And I was like, okay, this Joe Moorhead, this isn't going to work at Mississippi State. And that's how I feel about this Vols game. That's is this the one game this year where we can look at Heupel and say, hey, you guys can win this game. You guys probably, if you are any good, should win this game. And Pittsburgh would be the other one, and they lost that game at home.
See, that's what I was going to say was coming into this season, the over-under on Tennessee's wins was 5.5. And I said that over-under really lies on that Pitt game because coming into this season, I thought Missouri was going to be much better than they actually are. I thought, okay, Eli Drinkwitz has been a master recruiter. Connor Bazelak had a wonderful season last year. This is the year that Missouri has, they're not going to win the East, but they're going to have a pretty solid year. And what we've seen so far, that's not the case.
So do you think they have to win this game? Will your opinion on Heupel be swayed at the end of the season if they don't win this game, considering that they've already lost the Pittsburgh game?
I think that it's more so making a bowl or not, and this game really feels like their bowl chances. It rides on this game, because if they lose this game, then they have to beat Kentucky, which is going to be a much bigger challenge. If they can't beat Missouri, I don't think that they're going to be able to beat Kentucky. So I don't like calling games must-wins, but it feels like the bowl chances are riding on this game. So I am going to say that Tennessee needs to win this game. I think Tennessee very much so can win this game. Missouri's defense is absolutely trash. Boston College ran 260 rushing yards.
I think if the Vols lose tomorrow, we can go ahead and pack UT football talk up for the year and put it in the closet.
Because the rest of the season looks pretty bleak.
I'm
because
not
wins against
convinced.
South Carolina and Vanderbilt they're not going to sway my opinion one way or another. Those are games that they have to win.
For our audience, the city of Nashville, I know this is going to sound rude, of anybody who does radio in the city of Nashville, I think I probably have the most understanding of what the fans, what content, to give the fans. And I think like almost every metric proves that. And I know, there's a guy in town who used to work for Jerry Springer who thinks you just go ahead and, put UT Vols on the air. Oh, Vols, Vols, Vols. And every year I feel like it gets less and less. Like, when I do the Invigorate health reads and I talk about how every year after you turn 30, you lose your testosterone as a guy, like by 1% or something like that. I mean, I think the Vols, every game like this, they lose. I think the people of Nashville care less and less about the Vols. Like, I think it's almost consistent that they care less and less about the Vols.
Because the Vols have been consistently not very good.
Like, I think if we took 100 people who lived in Nashville and we said, do you care about the Vols? Like, care. I think you'd be surprised how many people raise their hand. And so if they lose this game, I say go ahead and pack up the UT Vol talk. I just...
Well, because at that point...
I mean, if you want to ruin your radio station and, hire a bunch of Vols and talk Vols and be Vols, 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 you can go ahead and ruin your radio station. I don't care. It's better for us that you keep ruining your radio station. But I do feel like from a just being reasonable standpoint, I think more people in Nashville care about the Alabama and Ole Miss game than care about the UT Missouri game, especially if they lose the Missouri game.
Well, I mean, when you look at Tennessee, Missouri, and Ole Miss, Alabama, the Ole Miss, Alabama game just from, just is a more, it's a sexier game.
Right. And
because
if you're losing to Pittsburgh and Missouri, you ain't sexy.
And it's a sexier game. It has SEC West implications. It has Heisman implications. So if you're a college football fan, no matter where your alliance lies, you can agree that, even if you're a Tennessee fan, you can say the Ole Miss, Alabama game is going to be probably more entertaining across the country.
Could you imagine that, though? Like, Brady plays Belichick. It's going to be the biggest game ever, right,
Yeah.
on Sunday night? I care way more about the Titans and the Jets than I do about Brady and Belichick. I think most people here care way more about that. We talked about Brady and Belichick the other day. We saw everything just get back to the Titans. Mm-hmm. We see how this is. I think this is a big game for Heupel. I think there are other things other than just wins and losses and, things that are tangible that are important to your program. Like Clark Lee, for example, at Vanderbilt. Nobody expected Vanderbilt to be good this year, but when you get embarrassed like they got embarrassed last week, I think that does some serious damage to your program. I think when you get embarrassed by ETSU, you can if you turn it around eventually, then, hey, minor setback, major comeback. But I think you start doing stuff like that, and we knew you were going to be bad, and still it's bad. And I think for Heupel, it's like there wasn't any excitement going into the season. We know the roster's not very good. We know that he's a first-year coach. We know that people didn't even love him as coach. But I think you lose a lot of attention if you lose this game. And then every game after that's like, yep, just same old UT football, just moving on with it. So I think Heupel has to win this game from like a morale standpoint, from an interesting standpoint, from a, what do people care standpoint. And so, to me, I actually think there's a lot riding on it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get your reaction on that. 615-737-1025. Plus, we'll hit the headlines with Caroline. We'll do that coming up as well. Stillman & Company right here, Fireball Hot Take Friday. Hiring new employees is a real struggle right now for everyone, so we want to help. Join us for a free recruitment seminar next Tuesday at the Hotel Preston in Nashville or next Wednesday at the Drury Plaza Hotel in Franklin. Both come with free breakfast, some great great door prizes and tips to help you recruit and retain your employees. Go to thegamenashville.com/register for more info and to sign up. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Temperatures today heading to the mid-80s under partly cloudy skies. Same deal for the day on Saturday. Then Sunday, cold front swings through, bringing widespread showers.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Dan Abrams and his live PD sidekick Sticks return in a new program, Dan Abrams Live, weeknights at 8, 7 Central on News Nation.
Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel is one of Nashville's favorite places to dine, serving up their award-winning menu items again. Kitchen Notes is renowned for their Southern-inspired dishes with a contemporary twist. Their breakfast features the popular Music City omelets, sourdough pancakes, cast iron waffles. Plus, everyone knows that their Sunday brunches are the talk of the town. Lunch menu items include smoked prime rib, chicken hash, and the Kitchen Notes legendary shrimp and grits. Kitchen Notes is open Thursday through Sunday at 7 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook app, my official sportsbook app. After 20 years on the same sideline, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick meet this weekend as opponents. It's the GOAT versus the GOAT, and you can be a part of the epic showdown with unbelievable odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can win $125 on a $5 bet if either team scores a touchdown. That's right, 25-1 odds on any touchdown at any time during the Tampa Bay-New England game. Feel pretty good about Brady and the Bucs. Sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook app using the promo code JGM when you make your first bet for the history books. Don't forget promo code JGM so they know that I sent you. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $125. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The 1947 Notre Dame Fighting Irish entered the season with quarterback Johnny Lujack, the Heisman favorite, and an offensive line considered one of the greatest in college football. The talented Irish squad didn't disappoint. They went on to an undefeated season and won the national championship after defeating unbeaten and third-ranked USC 38-7. 46 players went on to play in the NFL.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Recruiting is what separates you from the rest of the field. It's true in college football and even truer in business. LinkedIn Jobs is here to help your small business find the candidates worth interviewing faster. And it's free. Create a free job post in minutes to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of 770 million people. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. You could have your star talent in place this fall. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in this Sunday as Nashville SC takes on New York. Pregame at 10:45 a.m. and the match begins at 11. It's time now for Headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company, right here on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Headlines with Caroline presented by Fiero Tequila, the spiciest infused tequila on the market. The world belongs to the brave.
The Bucks travel to Foxborough, have a big game coming up. But
I have heard that.
Yeah, have you? But they may be without some of their best players on offense and on defense. Rob Gronkowski listed as a game-time decision. He's dealing with a rib injury. Also, Jason Pierre-Paul dealing with a hand and shoulder injury will be a game-time decision against the Patriots. Listed as probably did not foresee Jason Pierre-Paul playing this weekend. So could be kind of a tough loss for the Bucs. Still see them getting it done, but
Dude,
without
I'm going to say this.
JPP
I'm not
and
counting
Gronk.
out Belichick. I am not counting out Belichick.
Well, when I was
week.
thinking about it today, I was like, it's such an obvious thing that the Bucs are going to win. They have the advantage in almost every single area. I mean, offense, I take the Bucs, quarterback, Bucs, defense, Bucs, but the only area that the Patriots have an advantage in this game is they have a better head coach. And I think that that's a pretty big advantage. I still take the Bucs to win.
I will not count out Belichick in this game. This is the NFL.
I hear you. I hear
will not,
you.
And I'm going to say something. One time, we were talking about, this was off air, I think, and we were talking about Brady and Belichick and the competitiveness of Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And Floyd said to me, if anybody is more competitive than Tom, it's Bill. I think this game is personal to Bill.
This game is also very personal to Tom Brady.
But I think Tom's letting it be known. I think the way Bill gets back at you, Bill kicks that ass on the scoreboard.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Bill gets back at you. And I just know, sports humbles you very quickly. And Tom is riding high. And, everybody's loving the Patriots. Loving the Bucs and loving Tom and loving Arians. And they won the Super Bowl and the Patriots are a mess and they got a rookie quarterback. And it would be so Bill for them to win this game on Sunday, and for everybody who's laughing at Belichick right now saying, look at what Tom's doing, look at what you're doing, to then say, oh my God, did you see that game plan Bill came up with on Sunday? So I'm not counting out Belichick. We'll make our picks and six-pack picks today, but I am not counting out Bill Belichick. What's next?
Miami is now 0-1 in the ACC after they lost to Virginia last night. Virginia won 30-28 after a last-minute Miami field goal bounced off the uprights, 33-yarder. Yes. Now, Derek King did not play last night. He's been out the past 2 games. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. So their second-year freshman, Tyler Van Dyke, got the start, finished 15 of 29, not great. 203 yards with a touchdown pass and a 24-yard touchdown run. Don't see Derek King coming back for the foreseeable future. But, this second-year freshman, not a terrible night, not a great night. But Miami had only 10 yards of offense in the first quarter, 94 total yards at halftime to a Virginia team that gave up 1,172 yards and 96 points combined in their losses to North Carolina and Wake Forest.
Miami
so
stinks.
The ACC
stinks.
Louisville
might win it. And I don't think we're very good. And I think there's a chance we might win it.
And
I
also,
do not think. We all saw Louisville play Ole Miss the first week of the year. We are not good.
But whoever wins the ACC, I don't think there's going to be any chance of them getting into the college football playoff.
ACC's awful.
It's awful this year.
And that's the end of us talking about the Miami Hurricanes this year because we've talked about them way too much. They played Alabama week 1 and they were terrible. They played another game and they were terrible. Now they play this game, they're terrible. They're terrible. Terrible. What's next?
Also some MLB updates. The Braves clinched
How
the
about
NL
the Braves,
East last
baby?
night, 5-3
How about
victory.
the Braves? Now let me say this. I said before the year on Stillman and Company, Braves are going to win the World Series. Then I said
they stunk.
It was over. And I was at the game in the first row of the, right there in right field when Ronald Acuna hurt his knee. And I just got up and I just said, no. And I watched them bring the card out, and I watched him try to walk, and he fell down. And I watched
that was sad.
Ronald Acuna, maybe the best player in baseball, right in front of me, just in tears. And I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, any hope that I had for the season, it's over. Time to sell at the trade deadline. And somehow the Braves did it. Now, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Mets went ahead and acted like the Mets, and the Phillies
Mets did Met stuff.
Went ahead and acted like the Phillies.
The Phillies were on a heater, and they just kind of turned into a garbage fire.
I think the Braves are going to get smacked by the Brewers in 4 games. But as a Braves fan, Brian Snitker, the manager, he makes so many crazy moves during a game that you're like, what are you doing, Snit? But, this guy, 4 years in a row, he's won the NL East. And it's, when he got hired as the interim manager, it was with the understanding that no matter what, you will not be the full-time manager of the Braves. Then they won a bunch of games. So they decided to keep him, but on a 1-year deal. And then they were going to fire him. But then the general manager got fired by Major League Baseball for cheating, and the organization didn't want to have all this movement, so they kept Snitker for 1 more year. And then they've won 4 straight divisions since. And so the guy who is not even supposed to get the full-time job has now won 4 straight division championships. And I just hats off to him and the Braves. And whatever they do in the playoffs is bonus this year. If they had Ronald Acuna, I'd say this team could win the World Series. They don't, so I don't think they can. But very, very exciting. And it's exciting in the AL East. I mean, we know the Rays are going to the playoffs, but the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays. And the Mariners.
I do love me some Vladdy Guerrero Jr., though.
Oh, I love the players in the Blue Jays.
Bo Bichette.
The Mariners. The Mariners. Let's go M's, baby.
Let's go Mariners. But I do have to say that, I was late January, February, whenever the Cardinals traded for Nolan Arenado, I said, that's it. The Cardinals are winning the World Series. And then throughout the season, I was like, well, that was an embarrassing take. I hope I don't cold take myself. And then the past month, I said, nope, you know what? I was probably right. The Cardinals are the best team in baseball, and they're never going to lose a game ever again. But also last night, the Astros clinched the AL West.
Dusty.
4th time in 5 years. They beat the Rays last night 3-2. The Astros have reached at least the ALCS every single season since 2017, since they won the World Series in 2017. That was the garbage. Was that the garbage year?
Yep.
That was the garbage year. So the Houston Asterisks getting the AL West last night.
Dusty Baker, first manager to win a division title with 5 teams.
Wow. Interesting.
So, I'm not an Astros fan after all the, whatever, but I wouldn't hate seeing Dusty win a World Series because I think that puts him in the Hall of Fame. And I think it's kind of important. Those are Headlines with Caroline. Headlines with Caroline presented by Fiero Tequila, the world's spiciest infused tequila on the market. The world belongs to the brave. 615-737-1025. The injuries are piling up for the Titans. As I've said, I am scared to death about this Jets game. But there is one thing that I think the Titans will be able to do on Sunday that makes me feel a little bit better. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. You all know how much I love ice cold Fireball cinnamon whiskey. It goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. There is no better way to ignite the night than to do so with Fireball cinnamon whiskey. Again, there are so many reasons to celebrate. Halloween is coming. It is fall, and there's nothing better than that orange Fireball to celebrate Halloween. Fireball cinnamon whiskey. Please do it responsibly. Be 21 years or older to enjoy. That's Fireball cinnamon whiskey.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Hahn from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
MTSU football returns to Floyd Stadium October 2nd for the annual Blackout game against the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Kickoff at 6 p.m. The official Blackout ticket t-shirt package on sale now for just $15. Floyd Stadium provides guaranteed fun for fans of all ages with the Blue Raider Beer Garden featuring Steel Barrel Brewery, the Family Fun Zone offering inflatables, carnival games, and an ice cream station. Get tickets at goblueraiders.com/tickets and enter promo code Blackout2021. Go Blue Raiders.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it. And that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. And always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open 7 days a week and located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
We've all had that dream. Tie game, bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Well, on FanDuel Sportsbook, you get more than one shot to swing for the fences because FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free. That's right. New users get up to $1,000 back in-site credit if your first bet doesn't win. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook is the top-ranked sportsbook app on Apple and Google Play. The app is simple to use. They've got great offers on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and always-on promotions to let you get more action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code PLAY to get in on the action. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code PLAY. 21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game. It's a Fireball Hot Take Friday. We're streaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Titans and Jets on Sunday. Julio Jones out. A.J. Brown out. Bud Dupree out. Caleb Farley out. Laurel Murchison out. Ian, did I forget anybody?
Kern?
Brett Kern.
Brett Kern. Holy crap. How did I almost forget about him? Out. Johnny Townsend will be doing the punting for the Titans on Sunday. We pray for him. And so here come the Titans. And we have seen this time and time again. The Titans play a bad team on the road, feeling good about themselves, and what happens? What happened in 2018 when they went on the road after beating the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles at home in overtime, and they played the crummy Buffalo Bills on the road in Buffalo. Deion Lewis fumbled the football. Taywan Taylor fumbled the football. Nick Williams dropped the touchdown, and they lost to that crummy Bills team. The next year, in 2019, still the Mike Vrabel era, but the Titans beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Titans get red hot. Get red hot. They lose to the Carolina Panthers in just an unbelievable, unmitigated disaster. The next year, 2020, we all remember last year, Titans considered Super Bowl contenders after they beat the Bills. They played the Bengals in Cincinnati, and they lose. This goes back even further, by the way, than Vrabel. This goes back to the Malarkey era. 8-4. Titans go on the road. They lose to Arizona, who wasn't very good. They lost to San Francisco, who wasn't very good, and had to sweat it out and make the playoffs at 9-7. The year before that, after the Titans shocked everybody by beating defending champion Denver and top seed Kansas City, they went on the road to Jacksonville, who fired their coach the week before the game, and they lost. And Mariota broke his leg, and they were out of the playoff chase, which would have set up for a great game against the Texans to get in. Again, going from worst to first, averted because they couldn't beat the Jags. We've seen this way too many times. We saw yesterday, 2-1 Bengals, feeling good about themselves. Joe Burrow slinging the football, down 14-0 at halftime against Jacksonville, who might be worse than the Jets. I'm not scared of the Jets, but I'm scared of the Titans because I've seen it far too many times in recent memory. But there is one guy, when I think about this game, that if I were to say the Titans can't lose this game because of Derrick Henry. And I wonder if that's a little too ridiculous, maybe putting a little too much on Derrick Henry's plate. And I know there have been a lot of questions about workload. He's carried the ball 60-plus times this year. Nobody in the league has carried it 40 times other than Derrick Henry. And it's a long season. And I think you'd go into the Jets and the Jags and you'd say, you know what would be great? If you could kind of maybe ease back a little bit on the carries for Derrick so you can save some of those carries for later in the year. But I think that goes all out the window right now given what they're looking at. So can Derrick Henry this week against the Jets? Now, Mike Vrabel came out this week and said that's the best front we've seen. I'm not sure I believe that, but he can say it. I mean, the team they played last week had DeForest Buckner, but he can say it. But can Derrick Henry, is he good enough right now that even if the Titans throw out their sleepy stinker that we've seen time and time again, Tannehill turns the football over like he has this season, can Derrick Henry carry the Titans to victory this Sunday if he has to? If the Titans give us the kind of performance that just scares us silly, can Derrick Henry be the person that keeps them from losing? And I will say this. If he is legitimately an option for the most valuable player in the NFL, and I think through the first 3 weeks of the season you can argue that he probably is, you don't let your team lose to the Jets and the Jags. You say, give me the ball, get out of the way, I'll do it if I have to. I know football's a team sport, but last year Derrick ran for 2,000 yards with David Questonberry, who was on the practice squad as the left tackle. Dennis Kelly was the right tackle. Derrick has done a lot of, give me the ball, I got it, everybody get out of the way, just let me take care of it. He's done a lot of that in his career. Again, you can't do it all by yourself, but Ryan Tannehill didn't have any success until he started playing with Derrick Henry. So while I'm worried, and I know Titan fans want to be optimistic, that Nick Westbrook-Akina and Chester Rogers and Cameron Batson and Josh Reynolds, that those guys filling in, hey, they'll show them. They're hungry. They'll get out there. They'll play. They'll show them. Maybe you're right. Again, it's the Jets. But when it comes to no A.J. Brown and no Julio Jones, and you don't even have a starting tight end, I'm thinking, I didn't want to do this, but go ahead and put the Jets game on Derrick's plate. Can we expect Derrick Henry in a game against this crummy team to be able to carry the Titans to victory? Now, Todd Downing has got to do his part in this game, which is if he realizes early that they can't stop Derrick, or if he realizes early that it's not Tannehill's day, and we've seen some of these games where it is very clearly not Tannehill's day, if he realizes that early, just give him the ball. Just give it to Derrick and don't worry about anything else. Arthur wouldn't do that last year at Cincinnati. And I wonder if Arthur went into that Cincinnati game saying, well, this is Cincinnati. If we can get by not overloading Derrick with carries, let's try to do it. I look at this and I say, all the things. And if AJ and Julio were healthy, I would say, you know what? Yeah, throw the ball. Let it fly. Try to save Derrick some carries here or there. Now, the flow of the game will tell you what you have to do anyways, but I'd say, yeah. Hold back on the carries a little bit for Derrick Henry, and let's get it going, once you get past these two games and keep him fresh. And now I just think about how important these Jets and Jags games are, not as far as winning, but how important they are to not lose. AFC games, division game against the Jags. Do you have faith that Derrick Henry can carry the Titans to a victory with all of the injuries they have, even if the rest of the team does what we've seen them do in the past, which is play boring, lethargic, sloppy, sleepy football?
I think that Derrick Henry has the ability to carry this Titans team and really against any team they play against. I mean, what? Why do you look at me like that?
You think they can go into Kansas City and Arrowhead and just have Derrick win them a game?
Well, no, but they were able to go into Seattle, and Derrick was able to win them that game.
Derrick was able to win them that game against Seattle.
I'm not saying that he will, and I'm not saying that he should, because I do think at some point you have to be able to control Derrick Henry's workload. I think that if the Titans go up 35-0 in the third quarter against the Jets, I think that I feel comfortable pulling Derrick Henry at that point.
Well, yeah, at least give Mekhi Sargent carries.
I think, let's go. I don't think that this is going to be an easy little vacation for Derrick Henry and he's just going to hang out on the sidelines. I don't think that that's going to be the case, but I do think that you have to weigh the pros and cons of playing Derrick Henry of whatever the situation of the game is. If it's a close game, then you have to keep Derrick Henry out there. I don't care that it's the Jets. I don't care that it's the Jets.
I'm not going into Sunday with any expectation of them pulling him back. I mean,
unless they run away with this game and it's unrealistic
Sure.
that the Jets have any chance to win this game, then you have to say, okay, we're not going to add insult to injury.
But you would do that in any game.
Yes,
like
of course.
in any game where you're blowing the other team out,
of course,
Derek comes out.
Yes.
So when you play the Texans or you play the Jags or you play the Patriots or you play some of these teams that might not be very good, if the game gets out of hand, Derek comes out.
Yes.
No matter what. Unless it's like the last game of the year and he's trying to go for 2,000 yards.
But I do think that Derrick Henry has the ability to lead this team in really any team they play against.
So I don't think he can carry the team like at LA. Like Julio Jones and A.J. Brown have to play well for you to beat the LA Rams. For you to beat those kind of teams. Like you're going to have one of those ones where A.J. catches it, throws the defender off, runs in the end zone for a touchdown. Like you're going to have some of those against the good teams. Or your defense is going to have to create turnovers for you or things like that.
Well, he can't do it alone. But I'm saying
But I think he can do it alone against the Jets.
Yes.
And that's where I'm looking. Like my expectation, starting the week, before we knew that Julio Jones was hurt because the coach would never tell us whether or not he was hurt or not, I thought, okay, pound Derek, that's fine. Here's 2 games where you hope. And I'm not like Joe Rexrode, who's like, you have to think about it being the Jets and just kind of saying, okay, but you would never say it publicly, but okay, it's the Jets. And I'm like, no. We do not do that. We do not do that. This is the NFL. And so you got to play your guys. But I wouldn't have wanted to go into Sunday thinking that Derek would need it 25, 30 times. I have no problem giving him the ball 30 times. If you give him the ball 30 times on Sunday and you win by 3 or you win by 6 or you win by 10 and it's like,
then you did your job.
You've given the ball to Derrick Henry 75 times. Or no, you've given the ball to Derrick Henry almost 100 times now in 4 games. 4 out of 17. That is not good. That's like on pace for a 500 carry season. I'm not trying to do math on the air. But that is not good in 4 games to give Derrick Henry the ball 100 times. But I don't care. Because I think losing to the Jets is so catastrophic, especially given what Indianapolis has the next 2 weeks, that I think any idea of the game plan being outside of, hey, give it to Derrick, play action, use Derrick, throw to Derrick, get the tight ends moving, but have everybody in the world thinking that it's going to Derrick. That's the key this week. Because at the end of the day, when they go in there and they play these games and they lose these games to Cincinnati, it's because the defense isn't turning them over or getting a pass rush. It's because the special teams is missing field goals, not getting anything on punt return. It's because Tannehill's turning the football over like he did in the Cincinnati game last year. The one guy who brings it every week is Derrick. And so I'm giving him the ball. And I know it's the Jets. And I know you want to rest Derrick Henry, but I'm not.
But really,
Derrick, until the game's out of reach.
At what point do the Titans have really any other choice but to give Derrick the ball?
So I would
this week at least.
I would argue that if you're worried about Derrick's carries, like if you're the Titans and you're worried about Derrick's carries, sit him out of the Thursday night game against San Francisco. Sit him out of the game against the Rams.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because those are NFC games. These are AFC games. And the one thing, you're playing this division this year, which means Indy gets the Jets, Houston gets the Jets, Jacksonville gets the Jets. Now, Jacksonville, whatever. But those AFC games matter. And they matter even more with a bad division. Because when you play these bad teams, Buffalo, for example, might have to play better teams. And so if Buffalo loses, and I don't know what division, well, I guess they play your division. But, we talked about this with the Chiefs the other day. Chiefs are better than the Titans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The way that it's going to shake out in the AFC, I could see the Titans having a better record than the Chiefs, even if the Chiefs beat the Titans. Because the Chiefs have to play Buffalo. They have to play you. They have to play the Chargers twice with Justin Herbert. They
already
have to play the
Baltimore.
3-0 Raiders twice. They have to play the 3-0 Broncos twice. The Broncos might not be any good. I don't know. But they have to play those teams. And so you're going to see. You're going to see right there. They've got a tougher AFC schedule. So I'm not losing this game. You are not losing it. It is inexcusable to lose this game. I don't care if you have to give Derrick 40 times. Derek. The question is Derek alone enough if the rest of the team doesn't play well to beat this Jets team? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. And what should the worry level be about overusing Derrick Henry given the injuries that they have with the rest of the football team? We'll discuss that next, plus your reaction. Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on the program. We will be breaking down the game starting at 9:30 on Sunday. That's right. Don't miss the pregame show live from the Corner Pub in Brentwood. The pregame show features Mark Howard, former Titans receiver Chris Sanders, and yours truly, 9:30 to 11:30 at Corner Pub in Brentwood. The pregame show brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, FreedomTireGuys.com, FanDuel, E2 Roofing, Hillside Medical, Social Furniture, and Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Tannehill.
Here's Westbrook Akita at the 5. Touchdown!
Can Ryan Tannehill and company keep rolling into New York? Or will the hapless Jets leave the Titans scratching their heads?
When you wake up every day, you better know what to do.
Tune in all day Monday for full reaction to Titans-Jets. Talking Titans? We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Staples Connect is a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of pills? Well, I have breaking news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most proven form of wave technology available, clinically shown by Cambridge to open up and regrow blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're gonna love that. And to those that call in the next 2 minutes, you'll qualify for an extra treatment free. This is an unheard of value worth hundreds of dollars. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic in the next 2 minutes to qualify for this unprecedented offer. 615-576-5000.
Don't be surprised to go into a jewelry store looking for a certain diamond only to hear them say, "We don't have it in stock, but we can get it for you." The fact is, most jewelers today don't carry a large diamond inventory, except one, Genesis Diamonds.
If you're in the diamond business and you don't have diamonds, you're not in the business.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
It's not an issue of I can get it for you. It's I've got it for you. I'm ready for you. This is our specialty. Whether it's a half a carat, 5 carat, 10 carat, we have it. It's in stock because we are all in with diamonds and diamond jewelry. Nowhere else can you go and see a selection of larger GIA certified diamonds anywhere in the city.
All sizes, all shapes, including the region's most extensive collection of large, rare investment grade diamonds and the hard to get fancy colored stones.
We have them in stock.
Genesis Diamonds, continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring.
Every stone is hand selected for its brilliance, its beauty, but more importantly for its value.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The C10 Nationals are here. Friday, October 1st and Saturday, October 2nd at Nashville Superspeedway. The C10 Nationals, one of the largest GM truck shows in the world. Don't miss the autocross, the burnout contest, the dyno, along with vendor midway swap meet, cruise the track, and more. Cap it all off with a huge award ceremony. Spectator tickets are just $20 per day. Trucks can register at the gate day of the event. Visit C10Nationals.com. That's C10Nationals.com for more information.
Since being the first to make wiper blades over a century ago, Trico has protected drivers in any weather. We're always looking ahead, studying your specific driving conditions so you'll be ready for anything. Like, if it actually rains cats and dogs, you can handle every soggy Siamese and drenched Doberman. Your Trico wipers maintain maximum windshield contact for safe, clear driving visibility, whatever the weather. Trico, the future of wipers since 1917. Visit TricoCatsAndDogs.com.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Eric, how much have you enjoyed kind of even more incorporating yourself in the receiving game? I know it's something that you continue to work on, and just to be an extra threat in a different way.
Yeah, I give Ryan a little nudge on the shoulder. If he doesn't find anybody downfield, I'm there. I'm there to gain yards and try to make a play out of something. But yeah, just working on it every day, trying to improve, trying to get better, being available, taking advantage of opportunities when I be able to get opportunity to catch the ball and get a field and try to make a play.
I think Derrick Henry was trying to tell a joke there when he was like, yeah, I try to give Ryan a nudge. Hey, those guys.
I think he actually does that, though.
But I think it was also, like, kind of serious.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I'm trying to make a little bit of a joke, try to be a little funny, but, like, by the way, like, dude, throw me the ball. Like, throw me the ball.
It's like that ex you always go back to. It's like, I know you're exploring other opportunities, but I'll always be here.
I think Derrick Henry is the only way that you don't lose these two games. That you I do not trust the Titans. I do not trust the makeup of this roster because I have seen this roster do this too many times. I do not trust the coach because I have seen the coach in games like this, not be able to get those boys ready to play. He's the one that I'm like, hey, if everything else is going down the toilet, please, you just save everybody. And that's what they have. And I do wonder one thing, though. Are we worried that they are going to be overusing Derrick Henry, especially now that in 2 games that they should be able to win, AJ and Julio are out, and it probably honestly means more on Derrick's plate?
I mean, I'm fine with it because I don't think we necessarily know, is Derrick Henry showing any signs of slowing down? History books would say probably yes. It's his 5th year in the league. He's getting older. The history books show that the shelf life of a running back is declining. But I don't think that's reason to not utilize this, this gift that you've been given in Derrick Henry. And I know that we say, okay, the Titans should beat the Jets and the Jags, so we should take back on Derrick's workload. But, we've said it so many times today on this show. This is the NFL, and we are terrified that the Titans could potentially drop one of these games to the Jets and the Jags. So if that's a fear that you have, then don't hold back. If you think that Derrick Henry is going to be the key, going to be the difference between a win and a loss in these 2 games the Titans should win, use him. Run him up. Put him out there on the field. Get points on the board until you no longer need him.
I would just say this. I think you max out the credit card.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's career, I don't know what Derrick's capable of longevity-wise. I have no idea. Most running backs would not be able to do what he's done over the last 3 years and still be able to do it. But most running backs don't look like Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry takes a lot of care of his body. And every time you would think, man, Derrick surely can't do, and then he goes and does. And so, maybe Derrick's a special breed that even after this contract, when I think the cap number is going to be like 15 or 16 million at the end, which the Titans can easily get out of, they're not going to want to get out of it because he's producing at this high of a level. But I don't know that. But I know that you're protected against the cap with Derrick Henry, that you can release Derrick Henry if Derrick falls off the cliff, which is what everybody's afraid of. But Derrick hasn't shown that he's going to fall off the cliff. And since you've got him in the prime of his career where he may be the best player in the entire league, I say max out the credit card. Deal with the consequences later. Deal with them next year. If Derrick Henry can't get off the mat and you're not any good, then that's time to blow it all up. But right now, you're not there because you've got Derrick Henry. And so, sure, I think I probably worry about them giving him 500 carries this year. That's not going to be sustainable because that makes no sense. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit back at the Jets game and say, well, we don't want to give him the ball 27 times because if we do, then if that's an issue, sit him against the Rams, sit him against the 49ers. The NFC games on the schedule, wait until the end of the year. Maybe things will be solved by then. Sit him then, whatever. But the one thing Nick Saban said, the more he plays, the better he is. And I think that that's something he's proven. So I am not worried about over-reliance on Derrick Henry. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. On a Fireball Hot Take Friday, what do we have in the text line?
Michael texts in and says, I would rather sit Derrick against the Rams in November, like you said, if it meant a higher probability of us meeting them in the Super Bowl in February.
Is that Rams game really in November?
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it is, actually. The first week in November, the 7th, I think, is the Sunday.
Because, yeah, it's Chiefs and then Bills.
Man, life comes fast. Fast.
Yeah.
No, that's not right.
No, Bills then Chiefs. Because they play the Bills on a Monday night on October 17th,
Pretty sure it's
18th.
Sunday night the
4
7th.
4 weeks, and Jets, Jags, Bills, Chiefs, Rams. Okay, that's probably about right. Yeah, I mean, you can sit them for that. Sit them against the Saints. You know, there are games that, you know, if you strategically want to kind of hold Derrick, I think you can do that. And let's not get totally on board the Rams Super Bowl train. I mean, they play Arizona this week, and a lot of people think Arizona's pretty good.
Yeah.
So the one thing I keep telling you about this week in the NFL, Brady versus Belichick. Everybody thinks that the Buccaneers are going to roll the Pats.
3-0 Arizona, 3-0 Rams.
Steelers and Packers. Everybody thinks that the Packers are going to roll the Steelers. And Titans, Jets. Everybody thinks the Titans are going to roll the Jets. And I'm just telling you, one of those games is going to be a lot closer than you think and shock you. And I just don't know which one it is.
And I think last night's game shocked a lot of people, too. It shocked me.
Sure. I mean, the Jags may be the worst team in the league.
I mean, we both took the Bengals minus 7.5.
Boy,
They just barely squeaked by a win.
I was really surprised at how bad the Bengals looked in the first half. Now, the Jags. Whew.
Woof.
The Jags stink. And Urban stinks. He has no clue how to coach in the NFL.
Are you still standing by your take that it's over 3 years that Urban lasts in the NFL?
Well, I just think it's the money.
Yeah, but I
Like,
mean,
I don't think
terrible.
Shad Khan wants to fire Urban and they have to pay him all the money. And I don't think Urban wants to walk away from the money.
But did you see his post-game press conference last night?
Sure, he's miserable losing.
Oh, he was miserable.
But it's money. It's $8 million tax-free.
I mean, you're going to tell Urban Meyer, wipe your tears with your $8 million?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't stand Urban Meyer. Most of America can't stand Urban Meyer. He's a horrible person. I mean, I don't know him, but just from all accounts, he sounds like a horrible person. So I have no sympathy for Urban Meyer. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your Henry thoughts. Plus, I get some Brady Belichick thoughts to get into, which we will do here on the program. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game. We are delivered by TriStar Moving. And I have been telling you all about TriStar Moving now for literally a year. And I am so glad because I absolutely love my friends at TriStar Moving. I hate moving. I hate everything around moving. I even hate the new house smell when you move. I just want it to be normal. And that's why I'm glad that you have guys like TriStar Moving, because that's exactly what they do. From meeting up with them to them coming to my home and taking pictures to the moving process to everything's in, out, they're gone. It was a fantastic experience. And they are always upping the game when it comes to mover training. All the furniture and everything else was wrapped perfectly and taken care of. No scratches, no dents, no nothing. My mattresses were placed in protected bags, TVs in protected boxes, and they have a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet for everybody's stuff. They do it all. They hold a very high standard. That's why they're the real deal and on the rise quickly. So give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio. They'll give you 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Titans. Jets. It's time to take care of business in the Big Apple. Tune in Sunday at 9:30 for NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. Live from Corner Pub in Brentwood. We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit community blood center, announces the opening of their new blood center at 600A Fraser Drive in Cool Springs. Now Williamson County has a new, convenient, comfortable, state-of-the-art blood center for donors to give the gift of life. Blood Assurance centers are the only facilities in Middle Tennessee where all blood donated goes to help many of our area local hospitals. To view the center's hours and to make an appointment, visit bloodassurance.org/schedule. Give life, give blood, give local.
Football is back, and Electronic Express has what you need to make the game bigger than ever. Bring the stadium to you with the best in-home entertainment from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. Watching the game on the go? Save big on laptops, tablets, and headphones. Plus, we have all your appliance needs up to 50% off, and get up to 36 months free financing. We've got you covered this football season at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment and required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rentalworks, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Playing two back-to-back road games, teams that are still looking for their first win, what's the challenge for your team of staying focused with the task at hand starting Sunday?
I don't have to look around too far every week in the National Football League. It's a difficult task to go on a road to win. Records don't mean anything. That's just the way we approach it. After you win or after you lose, you can't let any sort of complacency set in. We have to resist those temptations to feel like, okay, we've won 2 games in a row. Like, that really is not going to mean anything going up to New York. It's going to have to be, prepare, and show up every day to work and with an attitude and willingness to understand who these guys are, how we're going to have to execute the game plan, and go up there with a lot of focus and clean up a lot of things.
Do you know what that sounded like from Vrabel?
What?
It's the NFL. It's the NFL.
We're not looking past anyone.
This Jets team is so bad, and all week I've just heard I've heard in my head all week with everything. I've heard Floyd's, in my head saying, it's the NFL. So when I was mad about how they played against the Colts and won, you don't know how hard it is in the NFL. It's the NFL. When Ryan Tannehill threw that ball over the middle that was intercepted, you can't throw that. This is the NFL. When it comes to playing the Jets all week and just how bad the Jets have been, this is the NFL. And anybody in the NFL can beat. I was actually texting Floyd's daughter-in-law, and I was spelling it NFEFFLELLE. Because that's
how he says it?
NFL. It's the NFL. And I just keep hearing that. And when it comes to this game, I'm like, yo, this is the NFL. And you heard Vrabel right there say, well, Mike, how do you? Yeah, I hope we wouldn't be thinking about that because this is the NFL. And in the NFL, this is and every person who's a football person like he was, it's like such a pride factor to say those 3 words.
NFL.
Like, this is the NFL now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the NFL. How dare you, hey, NFL.
Do you think that's the way that Vrabel's actually approaching it?
I think Vrabel's scared to death of this game. I think that's why Vrabel's been such a chotch all week. Because
he has
Julio,
been kind of a chotch
he's
this
been a
week.
total chotch this week. They asked him about Brady and Belichick, apparently, at the end of his press conference.
And he just skirts off.
And he goes, that doesn't concern me, and just walked off.
Yeah.
And in all fairness,
it doesn't concern him?
It doesn't, and he shouldn't have to ask. Like, I get,
But also, answer the question.
No.
Why? Because this is the NFL?
No, because I've always believed that a man can answer a question however he wants to answer it. And you can't, and a woman can't do.
Yes.
But, like, I don't ever, people will say, well, what were you expecting Vrabel to say when you asked that question? It's not about what I expect him to say. It's about his words, however he wants this to be. You know, sometimes I think reporters get caught up in trying to ask a question and frame it in a way that they'll answer it. Whereas sometimes I think you just got to ask the coach, like, hey, why did you do that? And they may get mad. But I think sometimes that's what you have to do. And, you know, it's like, remember that question I asked David Poyle about how do the people above him feel about those contracts with all those players?
I know more than you?
No. It was the other one where he was like, I don't know what you mean. And then I followed up with, how do they feel about the fact that you've signed all these guys to contracts and it hasn't worked out? Sometimes you have to do that because you can't. Because what they'll do is they'll allow them to skirt off.
Like the Brady question.
Right. I had to pin him down. I had to pin the greatest quarterback ever down. Because I had to. He had skirted me trying to be nice about the Tannehill thing first, and then it was like, no, was he the MFer? He's like, did you just say MFer out here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Answer the question, Tom.
Let's go to the phone, 615-737-1025.
Yes, I will tell you what they are saying. Steven says you are underestimating Derek's ability and saying, should the Titans possibly manage Derek's workload? Steven says, manage, yes, but he could destroy these teams if needed.
See, I don't think that's how that works. In the NFL, I don't think this is like high school football. Like, I watched Golden Tate one time his senior year at JP2, and they played, I believe, a state tournament game against Knoxville Webb. And in the game, Golden started off at wide receiver, and his brother Wesley was the running back. And Wesley played at Vanderbilt. And, I mean, Wesley Tate is a great guy. But so early on in the game, Knoxville Webb had this great linebacker, I think A.J. Kirby Jones. And Wesley Tate couldn't really get going, and JP2's quarterback could barely throw, so they really couldn't get the ball to Golden. And in the second half, they put Golden Tate at running back. He ran for like 250 yards and almost ran him back into the game. You can't do that in the NFL. Like, I understand the idea of, like, hey, Derek could destroy this team by himself. That's not how the NFL works.
And that's exactly what Matt says. Matt texts in and says, Jared, don't worry. Henry and Tannehill, along with the Titans, will get the job done once again. I don't think the Jets can beat the Titans today or tomorrow, regardless of who catches the ball. I think it's a little bit of a scary mindset, in my opinion.
What happened in Cincinnati last year? Tannehill turned the football over, didn't play very well. Special teams was a mess. Defense couldn't stop anybody. Derek was awesome, and you lost. I mean, just remember recent history. And I'd say this about Titan fans. Let's go around the room. Grade Ryan Tannehill's performance. A, B, C, D, F. Grade Ryan E. I said E, didn't I?
A, B, C, D, F.
Yeah.
No, you said it right.
I didn't say E?
I don't think so.
Okay. A, B, C, D, F. Grade Ryan Tannehill this season. Caroline.
C+.
Ian.
B-.
See, I think I'm with you guys. Like, I'm like C. You know, like.
It hasn't been extraordinary, but it hasn't been a failure.
You can't turn the ball over. And I already said today, if Tannehill starts turning the football over on Sunday against the Jets, I mean, I may stroke out. Like, this may be one where I just lose it. Because that's something that I said Vrabel should walk into the wide receiver room, and he should look up and down at Nick Westbrook-Akina and Chester Rogers and Cam Batson and Racey McMath and Josh Reynolds and Marcus Johnson and say, look, guys, if any one of you fumbles the football, I am cutting you on Monday. If any of you drops the football, consider yourself on the chopping block on Monday. If any of you contributes to us losing on Sunday, prepare to look for another job. And that's how they should. They should, though. This is the NFL. Like, come on now. And with Tannehill,
take a shot every time Jared says this is the NFL.
That's you know why I think the Titans might lose on Sunday?
Because this is the NFL.
But I mean, like, I think if you just play mistake-free football, like if you just play regular football, like and I know that it's hard. And
I don't know if regular football is necessarily mistake-free football.
If you play
perfect football.
No. If you just play like conservative football, Don't take a chance you shouldn't. You see a sack coming, take it.
Joe Judge calls it boring football.
Don't be afraid to punt. You know, the Titans used to always beat the Jags. When the Jags were good, which was 4 years ago for 1 year, the Jags were good for like an 18-game stretch that lasted into the 2018 season, and the Titans had to play them when they were the hottest team in the league and beat them. And I used to always say the formula for beating those Jacksonville teams was run, 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 punt. Run, 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 punt. Run, 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 punt. So you run 3 downs, and then you punt. And then you give the ball to Blake Bortles, and you let Blake Bortles screw up. And what other teams were doing was they were trying to play their game against Jacksonville. So like Big Ben and the Steelers could never beat those Jags teams because Big Ben had to throw it to AB, had to throw it to Juju, had to get the ball, and that's where all those pass rushers were coming at Big Ben, and Jalen Ramsey and crew, they were picking the football off, and now it's short fields, and the Steelers are on their heels, and bang, Jacksonville 31-13. And it's like, oh my God, how did Jacksonville do that? The Titans just ran 3 downs and punted, and they put the ball in the hands of Blake Bortles, and he just turned the football over. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. I'm not saying this is a run, 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 punt game because I'd like to go run, 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 touchdown.
But you don't need to get cute with it.
No, and you do not need to turn the ball over. If it is not there, if Ryan Tannehill throws a ball that is not there, and we've seen him do this now, he does panic in that pocket. And if he does that, then, I mean, I think it will be very telling of Ryan Tannehill. It's like in a relationship. I'm not going to break up with you, but it will be very telling in our relationship if you XYZ. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I got a Brady Belichick thought. I've also got a college football thought. And then we will pick the college football games this week because Caroline's is coming up. Tune into Sounds Baseball tonight on ESPN 94.9. Sounds Baseball presented by 312 Pizza Company and Farm Bureau Health Plans. They end the season. First pitch with Jeff Him, by the way, is at 5:50. Or excuse me, pregame 5:50, first pitch 6:05. Final 2 games of the year. Tomorrow it will be streaming only at 6:05. And Sunday, the finale is at 12:30 right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. One more night in the upper 60s. Staying calm for you Friday night, and then things change. A few isolated showers and weak storms possible on Saturday. More widespread rain moves in late Sunday into Monday morning. Highs for your Saturday in the middle 80s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Dan Abrams and his live PD sidekick Styx return in a new program, Dan Abrams Live, weeknights at 8, 7 Central, on News Nation.
When you purchase a certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, you have the power of the star backing your car to meet certification standards. A car has to be less than 6 years old with less than 75,000 miles. All certified vehicles come with 24/7 personal assistance and an extra 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. Right now, you can get 1.99% financing for 36 months on select 2017 to 2019 certified models at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. See more at mbofmc.com.
Lately, we've been getting a lot of calls and questions about acoustic wave therapy for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. This is a relatively new treatment for ED, but one we've been using for years. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, it's worth a visit to check us out. Our wave therapy protocols use acoustic wave technology, but often also combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedures required, and while most clinics you hear about only offer sound wave treatments, with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment and experience fewer letdowns. With another one of our ED treatments, you can last up to an hour and a half, and our expertise in treating these issues means you'll get the results you want. So make your appointment today. We'll show you why our acoustic wave program is the better way to do wave therapy. Call us today at 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
We've all had that dream. Tie game, bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Well, on FanDuel Sportsbook, you get more than one shot to swing for the fences because FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free. That's right. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook is the top-ranked sportsbook app on Apple and Google Play. The app is simple to use. They've got great offers on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and always-on promotions to let you get more action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code PLAY to get in on the action. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code PLAY. 21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Robbie Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That could be something that you could really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, big slate of college football games coming up this weekend. Caroline will be at Tennessee and Missouri. Do you even really care that much about this game?
Well, I'm going with three people who care very much so about
But do
this game.
you care?
Not really.
Okay.
No. LSU plays Auburn this weekend. I care about that game.
See, I'm not even sure I care about that.
Well, you didn't go to LSU.
I have so much. I don't even know who we play this week. Louisville? I have no idea.
Wake Forest, I saw that.
They'll get.
Ian
I think they
knows.
might get smacked.
There you go.
Thanks, Ian.
Is Wake any good?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Who's the coach?
I saw the ACC power rankings, and Wake was first in two different power rankings.
Who's the coach?
I don't know.
Dave Clawson would be the head coach at Wake Forest.
There you go.
Just an FYI. See, to me, there's three games.
Don't care.
There's 3 games this week. Now, I'll watch Tennessee Missouri game, but I find Notre Dame Cincinnati to be incredibly fascinating this week from this standpoint. If Cincinnati blows out Notre Dame, and I'm not sure that they will, but if Cincinnati blows out Notre Dame, I think with the ACC being as bad as it has been this year, with the fact that nobody pays attention to the Pac-12, now Oregon's probably going to get in, and the fact that Ohio State's not that good this year, I think you could start to see some rumblings about Cincinnati making the playoff. And here's the other thing. Most of these teams that are the outside looking in, they're like December discussions. Like UCF hasn't lost a game and they beat so-and-so. They should be in, but they're not October discussions. And if Cincinnati wrecks Notre Dame on Sunday, now it's an entire October, entire November. They've got the win on the road at Indiana. I think this is an incredibly intriguing college football game. I think Arkansas-Georgia is a very interesting game.
Do you think that this is the best 11 a.m. game in SEC history?
Well, I mean, I don't know the history of 11 a.m. games in the SEC.
Well, in recent history. I mean, 2 top 10 teams.
I mean, I'd have to, you say like, yeah, this would be it. Then someone will say, well, hey, remember in 2014 when so-and-so.
I'll call it a candidate.
Here's the thing. I think this is going to be a game that right now looks like a good game. I'm not sure it's actually going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be a good first half, and I think that Georgia runs away with it in the end.
So I'm not willing to commit to that either. I think this may be like a look in the mirror kind of game. Like, hey, Arkansas, you've had a nice run, but, let's be real. It was nice. You had a nice little run while it lasted.
Why do you think that?
Because I just don't think they have as much talent. And if the Jefferson kid at quarterback doesn't play, I don't think Arkansas can move the football.
I think that's going to be the key.
And I don't even think they can move the football on Georgia with him at quarterback. So they definitely can't move the football on Georgia with him not at quarterback. I think this is going to be I think Arkansas, and I love Sam Pittman. Love him. I think Arkansas this year is going to be kind of it's like a presidential primary, right? Where somebody wins the Iowa caucus. And it's like, oh, wow, so-and-so won the Iowa caucus and they're on their way. And then they win a couple of them. And the next thing you know, by the time you get to Super Tuesday and everything else,
they fall off.
The people that were supposed to be there were there, and those people. Do you know who won the first primaries last year? Or I guess 2 years ago in the election process?
I don't think so.
Pete Buttigieg.
Pete, South Bend.
Pete Buttigieg won, I think, the Iowa caucus and the New Hampshire primary. And so there was like all this momentum and all this, and by Super Tuesday, he was done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Arkansas is that way this year. Like, I think Arkansas, hey, there's all this momentum. They're top 10. Sam Pittman, Coach of the Year candidate. Look at Arkansas. Woo pig. But I think they're going to lose this game. I think they'll get spanked when they play Alabama. I think they'll probably drop another West game. And it's still a great season for Arkansas and a great season for Sam Pittman. And then there's Alabama Ole Miss. And this is the one where it's like, okay, is Ole Miss for real? That's what this all boils down to for me. And what's crazy is going back to the original thing I said, I think the people in Nashville care way more about these other games than they do the Tennessee game.
I think, too, I may have to disagree with you on the Ole Miss-Alabama game because I think that this is going to be a benchmark game for Alabama as well. Because, we saw Alabama blow out Miami, but we've seen that Miami's not very good.
I think the benchmark game for
Alabama kept things very close with Florida.
I think Alabama's benchmark game is the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC title game.
Okay.
And if they don't get there, then they're below the benchmark.
I mean, I just think that we are going to learn a lot about this Alabama defense when it sees one of the best defenses, offenses, if not the best offense in college football.
Sure, but I also don't think that, like if Alabama loses this game, then they'll tell us that Alabama's just not Alabama. Alabama, Georgia, that has the makings of a showdown. That has the makings of the showdown. It's time now for Caroline's.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at betus.com, mention GAME, G-A-M-E, and get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. You brought it up, Cincinnati traveling to Notre Dame, and I think that Cincinnati knows that this could very much so be their ticket to the college football playoff. So I am going to take Cincinnati -2, -110. Give me Desmond Ridder. I think he knows that he's riding his Heisman campaign right now. Also, Notre Dame's quarterback, Jack Cohn, has been dealing with a little bit of an ankle issue, and I think that is going to put Notre Dame behind the 8 ball, and I think Cincinnati gets it done on the road in South Bend.
I think Notre Dame's going to win. I'll take Notre Dame. I'll take the points here with Notre Dame. I think this is a college football moment for Notre Dame. You just beat Wisconsin and just kicked their tail in Chicago. Not much of a trip to get back to South Bend. You're playing at home. I think Jack Cohn looked really impressive in that win over Wisconsin. I think Brian Kelly right here has a lot to prove because people still think Notre Dame is perpetually overrated, and that's because for the most part, normally, they are.
They are.
I think they get it done in this game, so I'll take Notre Dame plus the points.
Tennessee travels to Columbia, Missouri. Give me Tennessee on the money line, +125. Josh Heupel making his return to Columbia. He was the OC when Drew Lock was the quarterback at Mizzou before he made his trip to Orlando to be the UCF head coach. Mizzou has struggled so much against the run. They allowed 275 rushing yards against Boston College. I think Tyon Evans, Jamari Small have huge games on the ground. I think the Vols get it done in Columbia. We talked about it before, that this really feels like a defining game for Tennessee's bowl hopes. And I think they know that, so I think they get it done in Columbia.
So you know how I told you the Titans, I'm scared that they'll lose to the Jets because this is what the Titans do?
You're afraid that the Tennessee's going to lose to Missouri because that's what Tennessee does?
Yes. Tennessee should win this game.
Yes.
Tennessee should win the game. I think the penalties are going to catch up to Tennessee this week. You know, I mean, it cost them the Pittsburgh game. It cost them being competitive in the Florida game. I don't see the penalties changing. I think that they are undisciplined. I don't think they can line up the way that they should line up. I have a problem. I do. I have a problem right now with the Tennessee Volunteers, and I think this is a big one for Josh Heupel. I don't think they get it done. Give me Missouri -3.5.
We've also got Ole Miss at Alabama, the CBS primetime game. Give me Ole Miss +14.5. I do think Alabama gets away with a win because that's just what Nick Saban and this Alabama team does. But Ole Miss's development of their defense, I think, is going to be completely the difference here. But I still think it's going to be an offensive showdown. I mean, last year, 63-48. That game felt like it was like 1 million to a little bit less than 1 million. So I'm going to take the over on 79.5 here, too.
I'm going to take Alabama, and I think they'll cover the 14. The one stat that I can't get over, Nick Saban assistants do not beat Nick Saban. And I don't know what it is, but I think Ole Miss's defense is going to get exposed. I think Alabama is going to tighten up their game. I think they were embarrassed by the Florida game, and I think Nick has been in their rear ends for 2 weeks, and I think we're going to see that on the football field on Saturday. And I think this is going to be one of those ones where after the day, so when we wake up Sunday morning, we're going to say, give us Georgia, give us Bama in the Dome, let's go. I think it's a close game. Alabama pulls away at the end, but I think that Alabama covers. And again, Nick Saban assistants do not beat Nick Saban. And obviously Lane is a Nick Saban assistant.
Well, there is a reason why Nick Saban assistants are head coaches elsewhere now. Because they're from the Nick Saban tree.
Right.
Yes.
And Nick knows them pretty well.
Yes.
And they don't lose to Nick.
I don't think that they are going to lose. I think they'll cover.
But they've never lost. Nick has never lost to an assistant.
Well, I think Alabama's going to win. I said that.
I know, but it's crazy.
But I think Ole Miss covers. But yeah, that is a pretty crazy stat.
Tell us about BetUS.
Carolines is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com, mention game, get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit.
Chad Withrow, Outkick 360, will join us next. We'll get his thoughts on this week in college football, what it means for the SEC, who can compete and who can't, plus the Vols at Missouri. And we'll get his Titans thoughts and his Brady Belichick thoughts. And we got a lot of stuff to get to here in the final hour of the show. The NFL is back, and the FanDuel Sportsbook app is my official sportsbook app, and they want you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everybody a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay with with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. This week, you've got the Titans and the Jets. Maybe you take the Titans on the money line. Maybe the Jets plus the points. Derrick Henry, the over on rushing yards. Makes sense to me. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in your bet today on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, claim your 30-1 odds on either team to win Sunday night's Tampa-New England game with the promo code JGM. And if your first bet loses, you'll get up to $1,000 back in site credit with promo code JGM. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile/web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The voice of reason.
It was a horrible start, and yes, it killed that drive and just kind of sent them spiraling downward the rest of the way.
The voice of the fan.
You cannot go 2 drafts in a row where you get nothing out of a draft.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The 2021 Major League Soccer season isn't over yet, Nashville. Are you in? There are just 2 regular season home matches remaining as we make our final push for a playoff spot. Don't miss the action on Wednesday, October 20th at 7:30 p.m. against the Columbus Crew. Or catch the last regular season match of the season on Sunday, November 7th at 2:30 p.m. against New York Red Bulls at Nissan Stadium. Come be a part of the most unique sports experience in Nashville. Tickets are on sale now from just $22 at NashvilleSC.com. Everyone in.
Brian Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Earlier this year, Dr. Rice, I was disappointed to have a cavity filling even after brushing my teeth all the time and having regular checkups.
Ryan, cavities are like any other health condition. You don't really know you have one until it gets bad. Recently, I saw a patient for treatment that they had been putting off. Something that could have been simple to fix 6 months ago turned out to need a root canal and a crown. Postponing treatment costs more and takes time away from work.
Well, I can attest to the fact that if I had not been doing regular checkups, I may have had to get a root canal by now. But thanks to your great staff that has been taking care of me for almost 15 years, my teeth are as good as they've ever been.
Well, we do things differently. I want to let people know that if they're afraid of pain or worried about the cost, they are not alone. Don't be embarrassed. We understand. Give us a call at 615-373-4488. That's KellyERice.com.
Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine, 615-373-4488.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game. It's a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Our video streaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube is presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Big college football weekend, big weekend for the Vols, as we were talking about earlier today. And I don't know how much people in Nashville, I would love to know what the chart is on how much people in Nashville, if there was a graph of how much they care about the Vols. But if they lose to Missouri this weekend, I think it is going to just shoot down. And I'm a little worried that, quite frankly, the other college football games matter more to the people in the city of Nashville than the Vols game against Missouri, which is absolutely huge. And Chad Withrow joins us now from Outkick 360. So, Chad, we were talking in the last segment, picking games, big college weekend. You got Notre Dame, Cincinnati, and then we've got the two big SEC games, Georgia and Arkansas, Ole Miss and Alabama. And we were talking about Tennessee earlier today. If the Vols lose this game, is the interest in the city of Nashville as far as the 2021 Vols football season, is it gone officially if they lose tomorrow in Missouri?
Well, I mean, when you have Vanderbilt, who's maybe one of the worst teams in college football, and then Tennessee at 2-3 and losing to Missouri, I mean, yeah, I think the interest would be lower in any, SEC team in the state, but I don't think it disappears or anything like that with Tennessee fans. They're still going to watch. They're still going to pay attention. Tennessee better get really comfortable with this 11 a.m. kickoff time. They already should be comfortable with it. They play South Carolina next week at 11 a.m. also. I think this is equally as important a game for Missouri. Missouri had a lot of off-season hype, a lot of talk about Connor Bazelak, a lot of talk about Eli Drinkwitz in year two. I mean, if anybody's feeling pressure, I think the coach in year two versus the coach in year one may be feeling some pressure after they lose to Boston College a week ago. And that they're probably thinking, hey, if we can't beat Tennessee at home as a small favorite, then the rest of the schedule looks really bad if you're Missouri. And on the flip side, I think you're right in that Tennessee's got to be thinking, hey, if we can't go beat Missouri, the rest of the schedule doesn't look very winnable either outside of Vanderbilt and South Alabama and probably South Carolina. But win this game, and then suddenly 6-6 looks like reality, which 6-6 is a big success for Tennessee this year. We knew that going into the season. Winning 6 games was going to be a success. If they win this game, they're probably going to win 6. If they don't, they most definitely are not going to win 6.
What do you make of Josh Heupel right now at this point from this standpoint? I thought against Florida, he schemed guys open, and they just missed. And they missed against Pittsburgh, and they missed in the games that they've won, which makes me think that when he gets better players in there, they'll be able to connect more often on some of the things he's scheming open against good teams and good defensive coaches in Narduzzi and Todd Grantham. But at the same time, the discipline issues and the penalties, and they just keep racking up, or the punt return the other night where they couldn't get 11 guys on the field, or the timeout situation before the end of the first half. Those are things that I watch in a game, and I'm like, that's kind of alarming from a coach. So what do you think about the positive compared to the negative that we've seen so far, knowing that it's early?
Well, I think that Josh Heupel's a good play caller. He's a good offensive coordinator. He's a good play caller, and he's shown that. I mean, he showed that in the Florida game, the moments you mentioned where guys are wide open, and Tennessee hit one and missed a couple also again. It remains to be seen as a head coach. He made a mistake not calling a timeout at the end of the half. Part of it is that is how they want to play. They want to just snap the ball before they have to call a timeout. They're the fastest team in the country from a pace standpoint of snapping the football so far. So I get what he's saying, but it was a mistake to not use a timeout. The issue with special teams, certainly not a good look. The penalties is not a good thing. But it's so hard to really know what Josh Heupel is as a head coach at this point for this reason. We're still in the honeymoon phase where everything you hear about players and Josh Heupel is that they love Josh Heupel, right? They're playing hard. Last year wasn't fun, and this team's not going to fold up the tent like last year, and we weren't always playing hard a year ago because it was miserable to show up at practice, and Josh Heupel has us having fun and loving football again. Well, that's all fine and dandy until the wheels fall off of your season, which could start tomorrow, maybe, maybe not. But when that starts happening and you get into November of a miserable season, we'll see how strong of a head coach Josh Heupel is if that happens. Does he keep guys together? Do they clean up some of the penalties? Sometimes when you allow guys to play with freedom, like Jeremy Banks at linebacker, he's going to make dumb mistakes and have dumb penalties. And we've seen that. Does he tighten some of that up? Does he continue to allow for that freedom that may lead to some penalties also? I mean, these are all questions that I have, and I don't think I can give an accurate answer yet because everyone is still saying nice things about Josh Heupel right now, and until it gets really tough for him, we're not going to know.
Chad Withrow with us, Outkick 360. You guys will be in Outkick the Tailgate will be at the Alabama Ole Miss game. And I asked this question. In Nashville, Tennessee, and we all know obviously your background and history, if your wife said to you, you can watch one game, or I'm divorcing you and taking the kids this weekend, you got Notre Dame, Cincinnati, you've got Arkansas, Georgia, you've got Tennessee, Missouri, you've got Alabama, Ole Miss. Which is the one game that you would pick this week?
This is an easy answer. It is Ole Miss, Alabama. And it's all because of Kiffin returning back to Daddy's embrace with Nick Saban and going back to Tuscaloosa, the place where he completely resuscitated his career like so many other coaches have done under the gentle embrace of Nick Saban. That's exactly what Lane Kiffin did. Now he's gone on to success at FAU. He's having early success at Ole Miss. Put up a ton of yards and a ton of points a year ago against Alabama. It's totally the Lane Kiffin factor going to Alabama in this game. And that's why Outkick the Tailgate's going to be there. That's why I know a lot of fans are going to be there. But if I had to pick one game, Jared, it is absolutely Alabama, Ole Miss for those factors. And I'm still picking Alabama to cover the spread. That's how I think this game is not going to end up being that close. But I'm still going to love to watch it because I think there's going to be a lot of points scored.
See, I would agree with you that that's the game I would pick. I think I would pick it more so, and I am fascinated by the Saban versus Kiffin dynamic, but I think I'm more interested in how good is Ole Miss. You know, for the first week of the year, Ole Miss absolutely dominated Louisville. I've watched every Louisville game so far this year. Louisville might win the ACC. And that probably says more about the ACC than it does about Louisville. But they might actually win that conference. And Ole Miss absolutely, I mean, they didn't even look like they were playing the same sport in that first game of the season. So I do wonder, how for real is Ole Miss? This is a measuring stick game. At the same time, I don't think Arkansas is going to beat Georgia. I don't think it's going to be very close between Arkansas and Georgia. But if Arkansas does beat Georgia, then doesn't all of our attention turn to Sam Pittman in Arkansas and almost make that a bigger game than whatever happens in Alabama and Ole Miss, especially if Alabama does, in fact, beat Ole Miss and cover the spread?
Well, I mean, I think the outcome will dictate at the end of, once we see the games and the results, then we can go back and say, well, that's a bigger game because if Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss beat Alabama or if Arkansas beats Georgia, that would be the bigger game of the week. But you asked the question about, is Ole Miss legit? We're going to start to find out that this weekend, just how legit, how either great they are or elite they are as a college football team this year. But I'll say this, if you just told me, just blind taste test, Lane Kiffin has a top 10 pick at quarterback, and he's a Heisman Trophy frontrunner at any school that's in the Power 5. If you told me that, I would say that team is going to be in the college football playoffs. That team has a chance to win a national title. But I'm not yet saying that with this Ole Miss team. But if you just told me, hey, Lane Kiffin's got a top 10 pick at quarterback with his play-calling ability, with his offense, and he's probably going to win the Heisman, I would tell you they're probably in the college football playoffs. Now, we're going to find out tomorrow if they really have a shot at it or not.
Chad Withrow with us. Sam Pittman is probably the front runner right now for National Coach of the Year at Arkansas. What he's done in the last 2 years at Arkansas has been fantastic. Do you think when you look at these coaches that are getting started, we've talked about Josh Heupel, Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. It's a total mess at Vanderbilt, but I'm not even sure it should be that bad. And people will say, well, you got to give coaches time and you got to let them get their players and you got to. Sam Pittman didn't have any of that. Turned it around right away, just like James Franklin did at Vanderbilt. Now he didn't take him to the top 10 like Pittman has. I look at Pittman in Arkansas, and I wonder, is he making the other coaches in the conference look worse with his performance and maybe put a little bit more pressure on him?
Well, and I think absolutely. And look, they were 3-7 a year ago. People forget that because they were so competitive, and they won 3 more games than people expected. He took over a program that did not win an SEC game for 2 straight seasons. They were 0 for back-to-back seasons, and he's already got them as a top 10 team. It's been a remarkable coaching job. And yes, I don't know if it puts more pressure on these other coaches like a Josh Heupel or Clark Lee, because everyone's administration is going to feel differently about the coach and the situation they inherit. But from an outsider's perspective, from the public perspective, yeah, it does make them look worse if they don't get things going quickly. One thing that I do appreciate about Josh Heupel, going back to the discussion from earlier about him, he doesn't talk about needing time. He's not once said, we just don't have enough talent, and it's going to be a 3 to 4 year process. And no, all he says is, it is my job to get this program good and get them good fast. Get them as good as possible and as fast as possible. I think that's kind of refreshing because you don't often hear coach. They're always talking about the process and, it could take a while and we're not worried about results and everything else. I mean, at least Josh Heupel is just saying, yeah, we're concerned about results. We want results quickly. It's my job to get the team good and get them good fast. I find that a little bit refreshing. We'll see if he can do it, but I'm at least glad after Butch Jones and everyone else that he's not talking about a process that's going to take 4 to 6 years to make work.
What do you think the college football implications are for Notre Dame Cincinnati this week?
I think it's huge because if Cincinnati wins, they've got a legitimate chance at being the party crasher for the college football playoff. Now, do I think that even if they win and they go undefeated, are they going to get it? Probably not, from what we've seen with the college football playoff and teams that are in the group of 5. But I do think that it at least keeps that interest and that debate going throughout the season because this is the biggest test now for Cincinnati this year, and they're a favorite on the road at Notre Dame, which is also intriguing to me. I mean, if you told me Brian Kelly's done a great job at Notre Dame, Brian Kelly left Cincinnati. If you told me however many years he's been there later that he would be a home underdog to the school he left at any point, we would have said that you were crazy. So that shows the job that Luke Fickell's done. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of major implications with this game.
Chad Withrow with us on the other side. I want Chad's thoughts on how scared is he? I told you all, I am petrified right now of the Titans playing the Jets. A.J. Brown out, Julio Jones out. They just don't play well in these games. I want his thoughts on that, plus the Brady-Belichick matchup. We'll get into that coming up next with Chad Withrow. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Everybody knows how much I love ice-cold Fireball cinnamon whiskey. That's right. If you had to choose for this fall which whiskey is the best for you, I'd just say Fireball. And unlike the others where it's kind of a liqueur, this is a true cinnamon whiskey. That's right. It goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. There is no better option than celebrating your fall and the start of it and Halloween and everything else than with ice-cold Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. Ignite the night. Please do it responsibly and be 21 years or older to enjoy Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
I really am. You gotta be. I mean, I just totally am. You've gotta be.
Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Good participation.
We have a system now, thank goodness.
I had a funny moment happen.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I have a story.
Get a cupcake.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
It's that time of year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron. BetOnline.net is your #1 spot for all the pro and college football odds and news this season. Get all the updated info on players, teams, and odds to help you with your new football contests, leagues, and new survivor pools. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports. Pro sports, MMA, championship boxing, golf, horse racing, they have it all. Bring the game home with BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
Do you have a VA or FHA home loan? You gotta listen to this important update from Loan Pronto. You can refi now and snag a new rate in the low twos. Lower your house payment big time. Hey, it's Willie Donick, and wait, it gets even better. With Loan Pronto, you can do this with no appraisal, no income documentation, and no cash due at signing. Who else does this? VA and FHA mortgage rates have come down a lot. You need to act now. Loan Pronto specializes in VA and FHA streamlined loan. They can even cover all your closing costs, and you will love their all-digital, no-hassle process. Call Loan Pronto now or go to loanpronto.com. They also have options where VA homeowners can refinance and get cash out of your home's equity, up to 100% of its value, pay off credit cards, or do that home improvement project. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. VA and FHA loans made simple. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost refi.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Camarena CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Camarena CBD. Camarena means healing, and that right there says it all. Camarena is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Camarena is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CarenaCompany.com. Camarena CBD, curated for life.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. So the Titans are going to be without A.J. Brown, without Julio Jones, without Bud Dupree, without Caleb Farley, and without Brett Kern on the road at the Jets. And yes, the Jets stink, but too many times over the years we've seen the Titans lose games on the road that they should win, and they go in there like Cincinnati last year, like Buffalo a couple of years ago when Nick Williams dropped the game-winning touchdown. Chad Withrow with us from Outkick 360. Chad, I said I am scared to death of this Jets game, and that I will stroke out on Monday if they lose. That if they lose, that they should put an ambulance, in the parking lot and somebody to sit here, because I will be so disappointed with the Titans. But we know their history. Do you think the Titans are going to give everybody a scare and or lose on Sunday against the Jets?
Not only no, but hell no. This Jets team is the Bowling Green of the NFL. This is not just a random bad NFL team. This is a once every 5 or 10 year bad NFL team. The Titans are not going to lose to this Jets team. If Tannehill and Derrick Henry are out, then I would change my perspective on that. I don't see any way. They just went to Denver and got shut out. There is no possible way. If they just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry and occasionally play action pass to Nick Westbrook-Akina or whoever's in the lineup, the Titans will not lose this game. You do not need to be afraid, Jared. You can play this back next week when I join you if the Jets win, but there is no reason to be afraid. This is a terrible Jets team, and the Titans will go up there and take care of business. And I think that's the worst line of the week. I think it was -7.5 at one point. The Titans are going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness. I just don't feel that confident in it. Corey Curtis said to me earlier this week, he goes, I think it's going to be one of those games where it's just ugly and a turnover here, and the Titans are going to win 19-16, and everybody's going to panic. I think that is more likely than the Titans, who have played so sloppy this year, especially Tannehill. The Titans going in there and just smoking the Jets. I'm with you that the Jets are really, really bad, but the Jags are really, really bad, and you saw what happened last night with them, and I just worry that the Titans always play down to their opponents, Chad.
Well, it would definitely – this would be you mentioned the Jags last night and Cincinnati winning that close one. It would be equivalent. It would be worse, but it would be close to last year against Cincinnati, where if you remember, Cincinnati didn't have a functional middle of their offensive line. Like, they were down to, their fourth guy on there. I remember talking about that the week of the game. that they were down to like their fourth center for that game. And that was a terrible loss for the Titans. Look, it happens. I understand that. Rookie quarterback, and it's not Joe Burrow the way it was a year ago. Since that, Zach Wilson's throwing picks. He is set up to fail with that organization right now early on. I just think the Titans should be past this also. I also think that some of their guys being out will wake them up because A.J. Brown has been bad so far this season. So I think A.J. Brown out isn't necessarily the worst thing because I think they go into it with more awareness, knowing their top receiving option is out. I think the Titans, they go up there and take care of business, and that's what a Super Bowl contender should do. And I think they get it done.
What do you think, Chad Withrow, with us? What do you think of John Robinson? He goes out, he loves injured guys, drafts them every year. Caleb Farley is out, he's an injured guy. Bud Dupree is out, they signed him, he was injured. Julio Jones is out. We knew that he had some injuries, in Atlanta. And Corey Davis is going to be on the other team this week, and he was a guy they drafted injured, and he never really truly made it and was held back a lot of the times by injuries. And yet the Titans have one of the, you would assume, a top team in the league, a top 10 team probably in the NFL. And I look at Robinson, and I see all these injured guys getting injured, and I get angry, but then I think of the results, and they've had 5 winning seasons with him. What do you think of that?
Well, I think he got bailed out by a really good pick with Derrick Henry in the second round where they got him, and he is a transformational presence at running back for the Titans and for the league. And I think, the trade for Tannehill. I think those two things right now are just really – they're saving him. Kevin Byard has not been great this year. That was another good pick for him, though. The Caleb Farley thing is weird. He's just not ready to go, and now he's got some mysterious shoulder injury. I would say this, Jared. Let's talk about this again in 18 months to 2 years, because that's when these awful picks, Isaiah Wilson, Dylan Radins looks bad already. Caleb Farley, if he doesn't get it together. A lot of these awful picks and moves will come back to haunt in a couple years. It's not going to happen right now because John Robinson did a great job trading for Ryan Tannehill, who's completely revamped his career, and he drafted Derrick Henry in the second round.
What is the most interesting element of the Brady-Belichick showdown Sunday night for you?
Honestly, it's how, because we do this for a living and broadcast things and see how they operate. I'm more interested in the broadcast and how they go about showing everything. I was reading an article about how they're treating this almost like a Super Bowl in terms of amount of cameras, in terms of security around camera people, so they can make sure to get the right shot of Tom Brady as he takes the field, of Bill Belichick, if there's going to be a pregame handshake, if they're going to talk, all of those things. I think I am more fascinated with the broadcast element of this than anything else. And the reason for that is I think the Bucs are going to go in there and win big. I just don't think New England's that good. Bill Belichick's a great coach. I don't think there's anything Bill Belichick could do with a game plan to affect Tom Brady and win that game with a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones. So I'm way more interested in how NBC covers it and what they show and what they get in this broadcast than anything else.
What do you think is ultimately going to happen, not on the field, but kind of to your point, after the game, before the game, the interactions between Brady and Belichick? Do you think there's going to be at any point in the night fireworks from one or the other, or what they're going to do together when they interact?
No, because I think they'll both handle it fine. I don't see Bill Belichick even smiling when talking to Tom Brady, but they're going to have a handshake. They're going to have a little moment. They'll handle it professionally, but there's not going to be any fireworks between those two. And I also think that it's overblown to think that Patriots fans are going to boo Tom Brady. There's going to be a couple of idiots in the upper deck that might boo Tom Brady just to be contrarian, but that crowd's going to erupt with applause. They should stop the game when he breaks Drew Brees' passing yards record and honor him with that. And honestly, if I'm New England, I do everything possible to make Tom Brady cry and get him emotional in this game. I'm putting up videos. I'm stopping the game to honor him. I'm giving a 5-minute standing ovation. I'm doing anything to throw him off his normal routine that I could. Then that's a little bit of gamesmanship, but I also think it's what they should do because of what the guy did for that organization.
So I think this is going to be crazy. I think it's going to be a close game, and we'll make our picks later. We'll make our picks later. I think the Patriots might win, just because Brady's launching a clothing line this week, and he's doing all these interviews, and his dad's taking pot shots at Belichick, and his trainer's taking pot shots at Belichick, and that Seth Wickersham book, the excerpts are coming out, and they're all anti-Belichick stories, and I just feel like Belichick is going to deliver the game plan of his life on Sunday. He's not going to do any talking. He's done no talking. Nothing. I think he's going to deliver the game plan of his life, and then to your point, can Mac Jones get done what has to get done on his end in order to win it? But I just am not underestimating Belichick this week. I know it's crazy. I'm the only person in the world that I think I've heard say that, but I am not underestimating Belichick against Brady.
I hope Caroline and Ian are taking notes right now, because what I'm hearing is Jared Stillman is the biggest AFC East guy in Nashville. He's got the Jets beating the Titans. He's got the Patriots beating the Bucks. You love the AFC East this week is what I'm hearing.
Well, I'll have receipts come Monday. Don't you worry.
My issues with the Titans, I think the Titans are going to win. My issues with the Titans, though, are the Titans. That has nothing to do with the Jets. It's more about the Titans going up there and laying an egg. And I've got one theory I want to throw by you on the Seth Wickersham book. And I talked about this earlier this week, and all these excerpts have come out. Kraft said this about Belichick, and Belichick didn't see Brady face-to-face, and Belichick, endorsed Trump, and the players got mad, and Belichick. And I've told the story on the air. Seth Wickersham emailed Floyd 2 years ago and asked if he could do a sit-down interview for this book. And I was sitting there when Floyd read the email, and he deleted the email. And I said, and he showed it to me, and he chuckled, and I go, you're not going to even email him back and say, hey, no thanks, whatever. He goes, nope. He goes, Bill doesn't want me talking, and I don't want to be talking. And I am convinced from that anybody in the Belichick inner circle didn't talk for this book. And that's why everything is slanted against Belichick, that there's not a Bill side of the story. I'm sure Bill's a complete jerk, although I like Bill. I'm sure Bill's a complete jerk. But I think that all this stuff is all slanted against Belichick because Belichick's not talking. Nobody around Belichick's talking. And I don't think Belichick cares what any of us think of him. I think Brady this week is caring about, the sit-down interview with ESPN, the launching his clothing line, all that kind of stuff. And I see Bill as very narrow-focused this week.
Yeah, I think, and you could almost say that about any book that's kind of a tell-all encapsulation of an era or a person. It's all got some slant, right? Anything autobiographical is going to be slanted for the person writing the book about themselves. Sure. Anything told from the outsider's perspective, or I think you're right, Jared, from people that are no longer with the Patriots, that maybe played there or worked there at one point but have moved on, that want to talk and say some things about Bill Belichick, that's also going to be slanted the other way. So I look at anything like this and say, okay, what is the perspective? And why do people want to criticize Bill Belichick or bury him? So I think there's going to be a lot of that. I also think there's going to be some good nuggets in it. It's not going to be all bad. I think there's going to be some interesting things that come out of the book. But I absolutely agree. Just like your illustration with Floyd Reese, anyone who's close to Bill Belichick and respects him and likes him, they're going to play by his rules when it comes to that, and they're not going to talk. So you're not going to get anything from his closest of close people in the circle.
It's crazy, too, to your point about there's going to be some stories and some nuggets that come out. This, I don't think, would be like a headline excerpt that you would drop right now. It's not the same as a Donald Trump story in terms of garnering attention for the book. I wonder, since there's a lot of Brady slant in here, I wonder if we're going to hear about Robinson or Vrabel, maybe tampering or setting themselves up. Because I think in my heart that Robinson and Vrabel's plan in 2019 was to let Mariota play, let Mariota fail, and then go sign Tom Brady. And I think that was their plan. Ryan Tannehill screwed the plan up and then beat Tom Brady, and then they kind of weighed the pros and the cons. But I am interested if there is a nugget about that in this book. And then kind of what that says, too, about, wow, this is being reported that Brady had told Vrabel that he wanted to come here. And I'm making this stuff up. I have no idea if it's true.
Yeah.
But that's kind of to your point about these nuggets that may be in there. That's something that I definitely am looking forward to.
That's the nugget you're rooting for to be in there. You're rooting for some nugget on the Titans' pursuit of Tom Brady or lack of pursuit of Tom Brady. I'm with you. For us talking about the Titans, that would be great if there was something with that. I don't know that there will be. There's obviously going to be a lot in there about Tom Brady's exit and then where he ended up. But yeah, no, I'd love to read something about that and where the Titans were leaning when all that was happening.
Do you think the Titans, when they made the move for Mariota, do you think that they thought that Brady would be their quarterback in 2020?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't think John Robinson thinks that way. He just doesn't strike me as a guy who's making assumptions about what someone else is going to do. He seems very practical in that if someone's available, then he'll look at them. I don't think that's just coach speak or GM speak from John Robinson when that's coming out of his mouth. I just don't think that I don't think the guy's playing, multidimensional chess when it comes to guys who may become available or may be open to trade or anything else. I think he's looking at who's available and then going after the guys he wants and evaluating film of injured guys to draft that he's eventually going to draft because he loves to draft injured players.
Do you think Brady's first choice was coming here?
No. I think his first choice was San Francisco. And I think that's going to come out in the book.
Interesting.
I think he wanted to finish his career with the 49ers.
That would make sense.
Being from there.
And I asked Brady a couple months ago about the MFer on the shop, and he said it wasn't Tannehill. I mean, he wouldn't have told the truth even if it was. But I think there are a lot of people.
That question, by the way, to get an answer. I mean, just to get an answer was great. I didn't know that he would answer it the way he did. But I think it would have been the San Francisco.
I think it was Garoppolo. And there's been some
I still think it's Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is good, though.
Man, who would ever call Drew Brees an MFer? Like, that's just next level. Like, that's the last guy on the planet that I feel like just seeing him on TV and knowing his personality that you would call. I'm
nicest guy in the world.
I think because he knows Garoppolo so well, I think I'm with you, Jared. I'm guessing here, but I think that the MFer in question was Jimmy Garoppolo.
If Darlington says it was Drew Brees, I stick with Darlington.
I do have to operate sometimes under that as far as the Brady camp is concerned. And did you see who Brady's doing a sit-down with this week?
I did not.
Darlington.
Jim Gray?
There we go.
He also he's got the podcast now with Jim Gray. But I saw on Countdown Brady sitting down with Jeff Darlington. So that's not much of a surprise. Chad Withrow, Outkick 360. Chad, appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Always good chatting with you. Thanks.
Yep, Chad Withrow joining us on the program. So, got a lot there. We haven't talked much about Brady Belichick. We've not done that, so we'll do that next. And I do have a text that I want to get to from Sean Reese. So we will do that next as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Chad knows all about my friends at Invigorate Health. And I know that because Chad's the one that set me up with the guys at Invigorate Health. And we want to set you up with our friends at Invigorate Health. If you feel like you're getting too old, the testosterone just doesn't feel there. You feel tired. You feel fat. You feel sluggish. Go talk to my friends at Invigorate Health. They have so many different options for treatment. It's not just hey, we've got this new machine and this does. No, they've got them all. So if you need hormone replacement therapy, you go for a consultation. They see you're lacking testosterone. Boom, they'll take great care of you right there. If you need their IV treatments or you need their IV treatments brought to you, Invigorate Health can do that. InvigorateHealthTN.com. They are fantastic. They've also got the M-Sculpt Neo. It is a non-invasive machine. That's right, that if you can put on your upper thighs, lower thighs, but really that abdomen area, that belly fat, it attacks it. And you'll see a loss of fat by about 30% and a gain of muscle by about 25%. So that hard to get rid of belly fat, the M-Sculpt Neo takes great care of. I love my friends at InvigorateHealthTN.com, and you will too. That's Invigorate Health. Just give them a try. If you're feeling old, you're feeling tired, you want to feel like you're 25 again, Invigorate Health. They will take great care of you. InvigorateHealthTN.com.
Titans, Jets. It's time to take care of business in the Big Apple. Tune in Sunday at 9:30 for NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. Live from Corner Pub in Brentwood. We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Football is back, and Electronic Express has what you need to make the game bigger than ever. Bring the stadium to you with the best in-home entertainment from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. Watching the game on the go? Save big on laptops, tablets, and headphones. Plus, we have all your appliance needs up to 50% off, and get up to 36 months free financing. We've got you covered this football season at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Part of the education at Genesis Diamonds is we blow open the door on long-held industry secrets and teach you to buy a diamond like we buy a diamond.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
We teach you everything that other stores don't want you to know.
For example, did you realize that fancy cut diamonds like emerald cuts, princess cuts, ovals should always cost you significantly less, not more, than a comparably sized round diamond?
If you go to a jewelry store and they tell you that fancy shaped diamonds are more rare and more expensive, that's an immediate red flag. Fancy shaped diamonds are 20% less per carat than the equivalent round diamond.
So before you buy a diamond, learn the facts. Get a no-holds-barred education from the non-commissioned experts at Genesis Diamonds.
There's no secrets. We are an open book. We pride ourselves on transparency in our education.
Genesis Diamonds, a no-risk, no-pressure, no-nonsense shopping experience. Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring.
Diamonds are our passion. We live this 24/7.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, the best training and training the best.
Saturday night.
Vandy 24-21, your final.
The Vanderbilt Commodores look to get back in the win column when they take on the Yukon Huskies on West End. Pre-game at 6. Kickoff at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Playing two back-to-back road games, teams that are still looking for their first win, what's the challenge for your team of staying focused with the task at hand starting Sunday?
I don't have to look around too far every week in the National Football League. It's a difficult task to go on a road to win. Records don't mean anything. That's just the way we approach it. After you win or after you lose, you can't let any sort of complacency set in. We have to resist those temptations to feel like, okay, we've won 2 games in a row. Like, that really is not going to mean anything going up to New York. It's going to have to be, prepare, and show up every day to work and with an attitude and willingness to understand who these guys are, how we're going to have to execute the game plan, and go up there with a lot of focus and clean up a lot of things.
That was Mike Vrabel on the Jets. Hey, join Chase McCabe tomorrow at Brewhouse West at 7108 Charlotte Pike for Chasers Tailgate. Stop by and hang out with Chase, watch the SEC Game of the Week, Ole Miss and Alabama, and enjoy beer specials and great food. So, Chad Withrow says no reason to worry about the Jets game. No worry to reason. It's the Jets. They're awful. They're terrible. He said 2 touchdowns, even without A.J. Brown, even without Julio Jones. Sean Reese, upon hearing that, what was the number one reason that I was worried about this Jets game, other than the fact that the Titans screw these games up all the time?
Because this is the NFL?
It's the NFL, as the GM would say. I remember one time I guaranteed a victory, and the Titans did win. And he was like, never in the NFL do you guarantee anything. Sean Reese, upon hearing Chad's take, said, great, that's the kiss of death.
Oh, no.
And you know what? I think that it's so funny doing this radio show, because if this were last year, we know how scared he'd be. We know how scared the GM would be. And now I feel like I am that kind of scared. Like doing this pregame show on Sunday with Mark and Chris, and with Chris Sanders, you have no idea what he's going to say. Chris.
I love listening to the NFL pregame show because sometimes Chris Sanders says things and I'll drop whatever I'm holding. I'm like, what?
Dude, you never know what Chris Sanders is going to say. And I mean that in a good way and a bad way, if that makes any sense. You never know what Chris is going to say. I don't know. I don't know if Mark is going to be up there at the pregame show and just be like, the Jets are terrible.
Probably.
I mean, come on.
The Jets are pretty terrible.
And I have not denied that for 1 second of the day.
And that's what I have to wonder is, are we maybe too caught up in the fact that something weird and illogical could happen? Because we can be logical and say, the Jets are terrible. And say whatever you want to say about what you think this Titans offense could look like without A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, and what this defense might look like without Bud Dupree and Caleb Farley, even though we haven't seen a lot of them anyways. I mean, the logical thing would tell you that the Jets are terrible and the Titans should be able to go into New York and beat them handedly. I know that illogical things happen in the NFL all the time. Weird things happen all the time. Last night, for example, the Bengals should not have been down by 2 touchdowns against the Jets.
Could have been 17-0.
But if you take away all the speculation, at the end of the day, the logical thing tells you the Titans go into New York and win by 2 touchdowns.
But this is the NFL.
This is the NFL.
This is the thing I keep saying. Like, no, I think the Titans could turn around. I asked Jordan Rodgers one time. This was like a year ago. And I said, what do you think has a better chance of happening? Vanderbilt football beats Alabama football, or Vanderbilt baseball beats the New York Yankees? And he said that it's not even close. Vanderbilt baseball beating the New York Yankees. Because he said Alabama could go into a game against Vanderbilt, turn around, hand the ball off every time, and not lose.
That's true.
And like the Yankees, you get a hot pitcher and some of these fly balls, that the Yankees would crush, end up in the warning track. Like maybe once out of 30 tries, Vanderbilt can get a gem spun by somebody and beat the Yankees. But they could never, ever beat Alabama because they could turn around and hand the ball off. You can't do that in the NFL. Even the Jets, you can't do that.
Well, the Jets aren't Vanderbilt.
No, but I'm just saying, in college, you can have teams that are so bad that no matter what happens, they're not going to lose this game. You can't do that in the NFL.
No, because they're still professional football players at the end of the day.
However,
it's the NFL.
It's the NFL.
However, it's a group of not very good professional football players, at least when they work in this system. It's a rookie quarterback who throws interceptions around like it's candy on Halloween.
I've always thought that if Floyd did a radio show, if the three of us did a radio show, you, me, Floyd, that you guys would team up on me every day.
Oh, we would have a blast.
But he would be just rejecting your shot like Dikembe Mutombo right now. With you talking about how bad the Jets are.
I know, because it's the NFL, and I've never won a game in the NFL.
And it's the hardest thing to do in the history of the world, according to him.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's incredibly
difficult.
difficult.
Winning one game in the NFL.
But you are given $1 million to put money on this game. Who are you taking on the money line?
We'll see next in Six Pack Picks. Join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and families through this inspirational nationwide movement. We raise awareness and funding for groundbreaking research and treatment options to eliminate cancer. Nashville's Light the Night will be virtual and take place on November 4th. Learn more at lightthenight.org/TM.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. One more night in the upper 60s. Staying calm for you Friday night, and then things change. A few isolated showers and weak storms possible on Saturday. More widespread rain moves in late Sunday into Monday morning. Highs for your Saturday in the middle 80s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
When you purchase a certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, you have the power of the star backing your car to meet certification standards. A car has to be less than 6 years old with less than 75,000 miles. All certified vehicles come with 24/7 personal assistance and an extra 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. Right now, you can get 1.99% financing for 36 months on select 2017 to 2019 certified models at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. See more at mbofmc.com.
Home of the Tennessee Titans, CMA Fest, sold-out stadium tours, Nissan Stadium has seen it all. Or so we thought. February 26, 2022 will be the site of the first ever outdoor NHL game in Tennessee as the Nashville Predators host the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. The 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series game is coming to Smashville. You want in? Visit NashvillePredators.com/Stadium Series for more info.
We've all had that dream. Tie game, bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Well, on FanDuel Sportsbook, you get more than one shot to swing for the fences. because FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free. That's right. New users get up to $1,000 back in-site credit if your first bet doesn't win. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook is the top-ranked sportsbook app on Apple and Google Play. The app is simple to use. They've got great offers on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and always-on promotions to let you get more action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code PLAY to get in on the action. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code PLAY. 21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, this is Kirk Herbstreit, and this season, with the help from our friends from the College Football Playoff in Eckridge, we're going to crown the first ever National Tailgate Champion.
I haven't washed my lucky apron since the big game in '96.
Oh, yeah? My tailgate hot sauce hits harder than a linebacker.
Well, honey, you haven't lived till you've had my Eckridge smoked sausage cheese dip.
Now I'm fired up. Are you the National Tailgate Champion? Eckridge, you do you.
Eckridge is an official sponsor of the College Football Playoff. No purchase necessary. Hence 12/13/21. To enter and for official rules, visit eckridge.com/tailgate.
Darren McFarland.
That should get you in the mood for a game tonight.
Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Big weekend of NFL Game 6 pack picks presented by Pella Windows and Doors coming up next. First, though, Caroline.
You can hang out with me on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. On Southeastern Carolines, I'll preview the SEC football slate of the day. I'll give you my betting picks, any advice that I may have for you for putting some money on the games this weekend. So make sure you tune in, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at 10 a.m. tomorrow, brought to you by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
There you go. It's time now for 6-pack picks presented by Pella Windows and Doors.
Not a great week for Jared last week.
Oh,
Jared last week. I don't know if I remember. 0-6. Did not get one correct last week.
Ouch.
Caroline 3-3. She missed Kansas City, the Raiders, and the Bucks, but got the Packers, Dallas, and the Titans.
Woo!
So for the season, we are now Jared 6-12. Caroline staying 500 at 9-9.
All right, there we go. All right.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
Okay, game number 1 here. We will start noon. Fox. Panthers at the Cowboys. Over-under on this game is 51.5. We have Dallas minus 4.5. Who's first this week, Caroline?
I'll let Jared go first since he's pretty behind.
I think the Cowboys are a better team, even though the Panthers are 3-0. I think it might be one of these fool's gold 3-0s like Denver. I'll take the Cowboys minus 4.5.
I'm also going to take the Cowboys minus 4.5 here. I think the Panthers are going to be hurting without Christian McCaffrey. I think Dak has exceeded at least all of my expectations going into this season. The Cowboys have impressed me so far, so give me the Cowboys minus 4.5.
Okay, continuing on Fox, 3:05. Should be a good game here. Cardinals at the Rams. Over-under on this game is high at 54.5, expecting some points. We have the Rams at minus 4.
I go first.
Do you?
Yeah, because you went first last time.
Go ahead.
I'm going to take the Rams minus 4. I think that this game is going to be so hyped up because of what the Cardinals have been able to do so far recently, but give me Matthew Stafford over Kyler Murray. Give me Sean McVay over Cliff Kingsbury. I think that it is going to be a very high-scoring game, but the Rams get it done.
I'll take Arizona. I'll take Arizona because I think Kyler Murray can run away from Aaron Donald. I don't think Matthew Stafford can run away from Chandler Jones. I think Arizona's defense is going to look pretty good, and I think that, teams get cocky in the NFL. I think the Rams had that big win over the Super Bowl champions on Sunday. People get a little cocky when that happens. I think the Rams will get a little cocky. I don't think the Rams are invincible. I think Arizona wins, and you know me, I don't think Arizona's great, but I think Arizona is playing pretty good football. I'll go ahead and take the Cardinals.
Okay, our first CBS game this week, 3:25. Ravens at the at the Broncos. 325 CBS. Over-under on this game is 45. Ravens at Broncos. This is an even pick'em.
Oh. Well, Lamar Jackson, I think, is hurt.
Yes.
He
had a shoulder thing.
Came back to practice today. Believe he should be in.
I'll take the Ravens. I think the Broncos are total fool's gold. I think that, the Ravens will be able to travel the way they play. That'll be able to travel. It's a lot of back and forth, you'd think, for the Ravens and kind of the games that they played through. But they beat the Chiefs, and I think Denver's an 8-8 team. I think Bridgewater takes them from what they were last year and makes them about a 500 club, but the Ravens are better.
I think the Broncos get it done at home. I think it's going to be tough, Jerry Jeudy on the sidelines, but I think that Lamar Jackson got a little bit beat up. I think to your point about the Rams beating the Super Bowl defending champs Buccaneers, I think the Ravens might be a little cocky after beating the Chiefs. Teddy B all day. I think the Broncos get this one done.
Sunday night football game everybody has been talking about this week. Tampa Bay Bucks and Brady going back to New England to take on the Patriots. 7:20 NBC. Over under 49.5. We got TB 12 and Tampa Bay.
I do think that Bill Belichick will have a few things up his sleeve. I think that he's going to coach his butt off against this Bucs team. But on almost every single side of the ball. I take Brady over Mac Jones. I take the Bucs offense as a whole over New England's offense as a whole. The Bucs defense over the Patriots defense. I think the only advantage the Patriots have here is Bill Belichick, but Tampa Bay is just a way more complete and way better team.
I'm taking the Patriots. I'm not only taking the Patriots to cover here, which I will take the +7. I think the Patriots are going to win.
No Stephon Gilmore?
Do not ever count out Belichick. Brady has done all this talking. And you know why Brady's done the talking? Because Brady can do the talking. It's been the Tom Brady gloat tour. And he has just been gloating. And I think Bill has a rocket up his rear end. Best game plan you'll see from Belichick in the last 5 years. I think the Patriots get it done and shock the world on Sunday night.
Interesting little Monday night football game in the division. Raiders at the Chargers. Monday night football, 7:15 ESPN. Over-under on this game is 51.5. Chargers -3.
I'll take the Chargers. I think the Raiders are phony.
I'm going to take the Chargers, too. But is Justin Herbert hurt? I see he was listed questionable for this game. I think he'll play, too.
I think so. I have not seen him being ruled out yet.
He's my fantasy quarterback, so that's good news. But I'm going to take the Chargers as well.
All right, and that brings us to the last game here. The Titans going to New York to take on the Jets. Noon, CBS. Over-under on this game, pretty low, 44.5. Titans down to -6.
Oh, give me the Titans -6. I know that this is the NFL, and I know that the Titans could potentially maybe be overlooking the Jets, but give me the Titans -6. This team is way better than the Jets, even without their 1 and 2 wide receiver. I think this is going to be Derrick Henry's day. I think the Titans run it up, but I think I also might take the under on this game because I think it could be Titans 35-0 at this point.
I think the Jets are going to win.
Oh, gosh. You looked at me like I was crazy when I said the Broncos were going to win.
I think the Jets are going to win. I think Jets are going to win. I've seen this story way too many times. I have seen this way too many times.
This is your Titans heart talking, not your Titans mind talking.
Titans are cocky and arrogant, and Vrabel's trying to fight it away, and he's not going to be able to, and Tannehill's going to turn over the football, and Derrick Henry's not going to be able to completely take over the game. The defense is going to be a mess, and they're going to screw up on special teams. And the Jets will win 18-16. I am taking the Jets on Sunday. The Jets aren't going to go 0-17 this year, and they're going to take one. And the Titans, Ryan Port's right. They're going to lose one of these two to the Jets or the Jags. They're going to lose to the Jets on Sunday, and I might have a stroke on Monday. Six-Pack Picks brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. That's it for us. We're out of here. Moneyline with Chase McCabe and Ryan Port.